Tonight, what would you do if while boating, a 25-pound rock flew at you? What could do that? Well, we're going to talk to an Oklahoma man tonight who had just that happen to him. So, let's get into it.
Something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it. It was very large, and it was running so fast.
Of sorts for campers in Taos County. The Sheriff's Office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from
Bigfoot.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye off the side of the road in a culvert.
It's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that.
No details. Big, like 10-foot foam. Big. You're freaked out. Hit in the leg.
I don't think it registered what it was.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Stacy Brown Jr., also known as Bigfoot Stacy, and you are watching The Underground Live. It is our Wednesday show where we'll do a live interview, and then we usually take some calls. It depends on if anybody's calling, which we've only had one show in like 6 months of doing this. We're only like 2 people called. So, pretty confident we'll have some people in there in the last few hours or hour and a half of the show tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. I tell you what, for some reason in Florida, the humidity has lifted and it feels great outside. And my wife, I know other people are complaining, oh, it's hot. It's like, bro, it could be hotter. Like me as an outside person, because I'm like a yard dog. That's where I was raised, right? So that's kind of, it's almost like fall. It feels like summer everywhere else outside of the South, you know? And I'm enjoying it, you know, because I got to mow that damn grass again tomorrow. So I just mowed it last week, and I have people coming to our house because we have a daycare at our home. And so there's people coming up here, and you don't want your stuff to look bad, right? You don't want their kids to get out and feel they're walking through the jungle. So I'm the yard guy, you know. Hopefully if this channel does better, y'all hit that like and subscribe button. I can get me a yard man to where I can just focus on bringing content to you, right? That's my best shot, right? No, Jason, PSP, Papa, you're a sissy, bro. It's not too damn hot. It feels good outside, brother. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Okay, want to talk to you people about the upcoming members only expedition for those of you who are members to this channel. Thank you so much. Your contributions allow me to keep going on my research, and in appreciation to my members, I'm having a free members only expedition. You do have to be a cave dweller. However, all you have to do is send an email and tell us you're going to come, and you got to pay your camping fees. That's outside of my control. But then, if you're not a cave dweller, you can just become a cave dweller for the 1 month when you book the trip. It's like $4.99, and then you can get on the trip, a whole expedition for $4.99. It's going to be October 1st through 4th in the Red River Gorge in Kentucky, and I tell you, this piece of land that we're doing this at, it is absolutely beautiful, and it's smack dab in the Red River Gorge. That place is eat up with sightings. There's stories going back there hundreds of years. So I'd love to see you guys out there. Not to mention, we're going to do a couple live podcasts out there. You know, so we're going to have some live entertainment, and then we'll do a few shows that you can actually sit and watch, you know, and then the members of the audience can ask questions on the spot, right? It'd be like Maury or Jerry Springer, where they walk around with the mic and they hold it to you, and then you're like, yo, tell square-headed ass, you know what I mean? Do all that. We're not going to have it be like Jerry Springer, but that would be kind of awesome if we did. So I got some great guys that are coming out that are going to like lead teams and stuff like that. We don't have to leave the property. There's trails for people that, depending on your level of being able to hiking. There's some trails that you can literally fall down in the gorge if you're not careful. So, and there's also kid trails. It is a family event. And then those who have restrictions on walking, we will be loading the vehicles up in a caravan and sending them out into the national forest there, armed with dash cams, and they'll just drive all night till they get tired. 90-something% of the sightings are road crossings anyways. So, I urge all y'all to get a dash cam. But October 1st through 4th, if you are a member and you want to come to Kentucky, come on. I got some special guests. I can't announce them right now, but once we do, you're going to be like, I got to go on this. And hopefully it's not too late by then. And the number of members I have, if I had half of those members come to this expedition, we would have the largest Sasquatch hunt ever put on, and then we could set the world record. That's what I'd like to do. And I know people are like, we don't want a lot of people in the woods when we're Bigfooting. Sure, I understand that. But there's so much land. There's no way we can even remotely cover it all. But if we had 100 people, 200 people, I mean, honestly, that would be the thing to do. It would be to hit up an area with hundreds of people, and yeah, you don't want to flood the woods with everybody in one place, but you can cover so much more area, and then you would have a couple teams being like, yo, we got legit knocks recorded here last night at this time, and then you can focus your efforts on that. But I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Enough of me rambling. This Friday will be episode 2 of Journey to Belief. For those of you that have not seen it, it will air this Friday. Here in the future, I'm going to Curly's Canyon. That's coming up soon. It's like our legendary tale of this show, Curly's Canyon. It's like the one, you got it here first, right? Kind of thing. And that thing has grown legs and went walking on its own. Got that coming up. Also got, I will be at Phenomicon this year. I will not be speaking, but I will be there loitering and hanging out and grabbing interviews, meeting people and stuff like that. So if you are in Utah for the Phenomicon, come by and say, hey, I love to meet the people that follow this show. It's kind of amazing. When I was at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, I literally have over 100 people come up to me talking about how they love this show. And I was like, man, I didn't think I was going to get much of that at all. But definitely did. So, okay. Without further ado, let's get on the man, the myth, the legend. Let's give him a big Bigfoot Underground welcome to Steve Arney. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. How are you, sir?
I can't complain. Wouldn't help if I did, and don't nobody want to hear that shit no how.
That's the truth. We've kind of got that same weather you've got going on, man. It's not bad outside. Normally, it's so hot and humid here that, it's like 96 degrees. But after being in 130-degree heat in Arizona, 96 without humidity, not too bad. Not too shabby.
No, but then when you add it back in, and usually we're right here at the 1st of July, coming around the corner on the 4th, and this time of year is always sweltering. Like it rains a bunch, but then after the rain, it's like a bathhouse or something outside. You know what I mean? There's all these naked dudes.
Yeah.
All these
Might as
naked
well have it.
dudes walking around my yard with towels on. I don't know. Maybe I just live in the wrong neighborhood. But
I have a sign on my garage door that said, prayer is the best way to meet God. Trespassing is the quickest.
makes sense.
Makes sense, man. So, yeah, I mean, I love people and all that, but yeah, your space is your space, and God's all right with that. So, anyway, yes, sir.
Got to protect my own, because nobody else is going to.
You got that right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you want me to start, man? What do you want to do?
Well, I guess you've had some Bigfoot stuff happen, and we're going to get into some other stuff later that you've had happen. So I guess you just go ahead and start, man. I've got some photos that you sent me. One of a tree break. I think you kind of said that's where it all started, right?
Yeah, well, not really. So, I'm from Amarillo, Texas, and if anybody's ever been through there, it's the coldest place in the winter. I've had Alaskans tell me that. It gets hot. I mean, bro, snow up there can go 8-9 foot deep with the drifts because there's no trees, none, zero. There's a story about a rancher that his wife and he'll move there to raise cows, and she was so depressed after a week she wanted to go home, and that old boy, he saddled up and he rode back to their area where they came from, I think around Wheeler, and dug up trees and took them back just so he didn't lose his wife. So Amarillo's, if you know where to hunt, you can hunt the Canadian River Valley. It's kind of funny. I've always lived within 15 miles of that Canadian River, whether it's been in Amarillo or Oklahoma, South Oklahoma or Southwest Oklahoma. It didn't matter. So, so I'm a flatlander, man. I grew up there, and for the first 40 years of my life, played a lot of music around a lot of clubs and a lot of places, and not the right music, but stuff I truly enjoy. And I was raised by a Pentecostal pastor and his wife, my grandparents, A.G. Turner. And probably the best people I ever knew, Stacy, because especially him, I never heard him say a bad word against anybody. I can't say that, man. I can't say that I've never spoke bad about anybody, but he could. And he didn't brag about it. It's just the way he was. So, and he taught me to love the outdoors, fishing and hunting. And, we had to drive for a little bit to get where we were going to the lakes. It's not like here in Oklahoma where my lake is a half a mile from my house, kind of intentionally. And, but anyway, dude, so my wife, her daddy, she's from Oklahoma City, and her daddy started doing bad. And we had a little farm in Amarillo, and she asked me one day, would you be willing to move to Oklahoma? And at the time, my oldest son was in the Navy. Thank you, CJ, for your service. And my middle daughter, had moved out to Washington State. So I'm like, why not? Let's go. But I told her, I said, now look, you ain't going to get me within 60 miles of that city. I will not live in that crazy city and it's not that Oklahoma City's bad. They got tons of stuff to do, but buddy, it's getting as bad as Dallas if you want to drive through there. I mean, they'll run you over and they don't blink. So you got to be careful. But anyway, so we moved to a little town of Macomb, Oklahoma, joined a Baptist church there, Macomb Baptist Church, and met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. Man, they still live without bars on their windows or bars on their hearts, right? They which will play into this. But so I've been there about a year. We had 10 acres. But what was wonderful to me was there was like 160 acres. Let me think about this. South of us, 160 east of us, and 30. Hey, bud. Yeah.
Let me get you to come off the stream and then come back in. So close it all the way out. I was trying to set your audio, and now it's like popping super bad. Try to talk again.
Yeah, man. I'll be right back.
Hey, yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, man.
Okay, everybody. Steve will be right back. Sorry about that. I started hearing that because I was trying to adjust his level because his S's were like super harsh. And then it just started popping. Da, 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 da. But yeah, he'll be right back. And it shouldn't do it this time. Here he is. And if it does, we're just going to get him on a phone call. So, are you there now?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
You're good, brother. Now it's not popping.
Well, I had an AC unit running, but it's nice in here. I just turned it off. Hopefully that helped.
Well, no, I adjusted the audio because your S's were a little harsh, and then it started popping, and I'm like, damn it. So that's usually what happens. If you make an adjustment on the fly, it usually like messes up. But yeah, as you were saying, brother, I'm sorry about all that.
No, don't worry about it. It happens. It's a world we live in. But so we lived in Macomb, Oklahoma, and what I was saying there was the people there are genuine, right? It'll play into the story a little bit further down, but so I had 10 acres surrounded by 160 on one side, 160 on the other, and 30 between me and my nearest neighbor. And it was wooded, bro. It was, I was in heaven, man. It was the foothills, if you will, of the Smokies, the very foothills where it starts getting mountainous before you get into Arkansas. That's kind of, and we lived on the highest hill out there. So, I loved it. But so anyway, I cleared an acre of land because I'm a deer hunter. I'm a fisherman, a trapper. I love the outdoors, man. It's the only place where I'm at peace, if you will. If I'm at home, I got to be doing something. I got to be working. But if I'm fishing, I can focus on that, or hunting, or whatever. And so anyway, I was really excited. It took about a year to clear that acre of land. And I planted a winter wheat field there, and above it, on a terrace, I had a bass pond. My redneck dream, Stacy, was to catch a catfish out of my bass pond while sitting in my hot tub below my house.
I'm telling you, bro, I keep with all this rain, if I don't stay on top of my pool, it'll turn green real quick.
Oh yeah.
And so it's a constant fight. And I keep telling my wife, I was like, one day I'm going to just tear all the shit out, and I'm going to put bass in here and put me an aerator or something so I could just come out here and fish, you know?
Yeah. So, okay. So I love that, dude. We had a dog that her name was Lucy, and she was a weird dog. She was half coyote and half lab. She dug holes and wouldn't stay in houses. But that dog, bro, and one of the bass in my pond became buddies. I know that's crazy. I know it's crazy, but Lucy in the evening would walk down to that pond, and she was a medium to small dog, and she'd start going around that pond, and you'd see a wake come up behind her, right? She's walking around the water, and there's a wake following her, and I'm like, what am I watching? I even videoed it. And what it was every time Gucci would stop in the reeds, a frog would jump out, and that bass would eat it. So they were buddies, man. That bass knew her footstep, if that makes any sense. So it was awesome. But
let me ask you, because somebody Mike MC just said his dream is to shoot a big buck from his hot tub. So have you done that? Have you done that?
Not, no, but I'd be down in a second. I will tell you this, as far as big bucks go. In 99, I killed number 7 in the state of Texas. And by the way, that was my first big deer ever. And ever since then, I kill nice deer, but I'm like, yeah, they don't compare to him. Lost him in a house fire. That'll come into play. But dude, I love hunting, and I eat what I kill. That was one thing Papa always taught us. If you ain't going to eat it, leave it alone. Right.
Right.
And so leave places better than you found them, stuff like that, stuff that's gone by the wayside nowadays. But But anyway, so okay, fast forward a little bit. It was 1st of October is our opening day of deer season. I had a blind set up down there, and it was a ground blind. I built a lot of tree blinds and set in them too. But dude, I'm just so excited because I get a hunt on my land, first time ever, with a good plan in place. And I've been having deer come through, right? Because it's woods all the way around this acre that I cleared out. And so anyway, dude, it's getting about dusk. It's getting about the time when everything happens, right? And, you know, as a hunter, you get excited, you perk your ears, you start watching real close. And bro, I hope your microphone don't blow me up here, but all of a sudden a sound came out of the bottom of the woods. Okay. Remember, I'm a flatlander, Stacy. I've hunted everywhere. I've hunted Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, everywhere. Big Springs, Texas.
You hunted Florida? You hunted Florida?
But I was fixing to say I'd love to gator hunt with a bow down there. My wife called.
Let's talk offline then. If you want to do that, because you can only get the gators certain ways in Florida.
Right.
And bow is one of the ways. It's either like they classify it as harpoon.
Right. Okay.
I think the bow is the same thing though, from what I've been told. I'll check into it. So
is it? I wonder if they'll check into it for me if they'll allow crossbows because I'm disabled in my back.
If you're disabled.
Yeah. Bro, my back broke the first time when I was 30, and I had a wife and 2 kids at that point in life, and no way to support them for 2 years. Literally back then, I'm 57. So back then, the first surgery I had that helped me was the 3rd or 4th surgery they had done. And I had to stare at the damn ceiling dots and count them for a year. I couldn't move. I was supposed to lay still for a year. And dude, for a guy like me, that's almost impossible. But it did work. But anyway, it took me a year, dude, to get a Colorado disability hunting license where I could hunt with my crossbow.
Yeah.
But dude, so if you guys or gals have never hunted with hunted archery, and you want a whole new experience, when you have a deer, I had a big buck come through, beautiful buck, came through my place in Macomb. And Stacy, I was in a tree on that particular one, and I shot him at 7 yards. 7 yards. I watched him breathe. He was snorting that cold air, right? And it was, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
When I shot my second turkey, it was probably at about 15, maybe that. But my buddy, he was an older man, right? And so I hadn't done much hunting, and he took me turkey hunting, and it was awesome, but he made me wait until that turkey got so close. And I'm like, bro, because my first turkey, I probably killed that from 100 yards.
Right,
Yeah, with a 30-30. I didn't know what it was. And he's like, shoot it. And I shot it. But I mean, I knew what it was. I thought it was an emu. An emu at first. I think it was
yeah. Do y'all have emus wild down there, man?
We got everything wild, bro. Once the shit gets out, it's gone. You know.
Yeah, and it thrives in that country too, right? So, everything thrives.
Everything you drop off, any snakes, any frogs, anything like that. Like, I mean, you can pull up stories online when people have had to catch cobras.
Oh wow.
Now, there's not a lot of them like the python population, but it happens when people drop these out and they go, you know.
Yeah. There's nothing that's their enemy out there. They don't have to worry about, maybe a gator, but a big enough snake will kill a gator. So,
you know. Well, let's get back
And-
into Bigfoot.
Yeah,
We've been
yeah,
rambling.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Hey,
That's my fault.
one real quick one. When my oldest son was 6 years old, he was talking about turkey hunting, and I've had him hunting since that time. But anyway, dude, I had set up on these turkeys with this ground blind around me, right? And CJ was like his daddy. He couldn't sit still. He just couldn't do it. And so I was like, bro, why don't you lay down and take a nap, and I'll wake you up when the turkeys come in. I thought I was outsmarting him. And so anyway, here comes this big gobbler, the one I wanted all year. And he's coming over the hill and he's thundering, dude. It's so loud, he's thundering. And old CJ wakes up and says, hey, Dad, there's a turkey. I said, no, son, there was a turkey. They not there no more. But so, okay, back to sound. We've talked a lot about sound. You and I are both musicians and songwriters and such. And I kind of know a little bit about sound as far as decibels. And by the way, the other day I told you wrong. A jet airplane puts out like 946 decibels. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting in these woods, dude, and the sun's going down. And all of a sudden, and y'all plug your ears if you want to, this is what I heard, okay? I heard this, and I've hunted all my life. It went, yeah. But louder, longer, deeper,
Right.
stronger than I could ever do. I'm sorry if I blew any ears out right there. And then it did it again, bro. And I'm sitting in there and it's starting to get dark. And I'm like, what in the billy goat hell did I just hear? And so I was scared. Okay. And I've hunted all my life. I've been around bears way too many times. I had one 6 inches from my face. He didn't know it, or I didn't know it at the time, but he was there. And we both scared and ran. But anyway, so this thing did this like 3 or 4 times. And I just got out of my blind. I'm like, I ain't going to be down here, because he sounded like whatever it was, sounded like it was 50 yards away. And so I literally went up, hadn't got to this part yet, but the house was backed up to the Trail of Tears. Okay. Anybody that's native or has native blood knows about that. It was a horrible time in human history in my mind, but that's another story. Anyway, I went to the house and I got my wife and I drug her out on the back porch and I said, just listen. And the thing was still doing it. Now, here's what you got to understand. Behind me was a 3,000 acre property, bro, where there's no homes. There's one rancher on one lone hill a long way off. There's no home, right? And so I've heard bobcats scream and they'll scare you a little. I've heard mountain lions scream and they'll scare you a lot. Sounds like a woman being hurt really bad. And but I've never heard anything like that, dude. And down the rabbit hole I went. Okay, so that that was year one. That was the first year. We started noticing that property, by the way, as I cleared that land, I uncovered I'm fairly certain, Stacy, 2 burial sites. Trail of Tears, they would let them bury their dead, but they wouldn't let them mark them, which is shameful in my mind, but it's what happened. And bro, these 2 burial sites that I think I found, if you can imagine rocks, they're, I don't know, 6-pound rocks, all the same size, roughly, about 8 foot long, about 4 foot wide, and the mound would be where a mound shouldn't be. If you're used to hill country, you know when a cliff face is going to break. You know when this was in a plain area where it shouldn't have been. And so that was year one. Year two, we start to notice the things that go on around there, the things that couldn't be explained. We'll talk about pictures here in a little bit, and I'll explain those to y'all best I can. But Dude, I'd had a back surgery, Stacy, and I couldn't walk. I was not supposed to do anything, and it was freaking hunting season, and I was mad about it. Very mad. Because, I mean, I had tried to schedule it to where it wasn't going to mess with me, but it messed with me. And so anyway, dude, one night, I hear a calf, what I'd call a long yearling. That means he's probably 14 months old. He's probably anywhere from 800 to 1,200 pounds if he's a good steer, whatever. And the reason I could pick him out is I've been around more cows than I have people, and I kind of like it that way. But this calf, bro, was getting torn apart. Literally, he was screaming as loud as he could scream, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. The brush in that part of Oklahoma southeast, and not far southeast, but down by Ada, Asher, that area. Dude, you can't go in it a lot at night unless you know where you're going, because we had this thing that I used to call choke vine, that's real stringy, and it has thorns about a ½ inch long. And if I hadn't cleared them out of certain areas, I couldn't go in there at all, because it will rip your legs up. It'll rip through your jeans. It don't matter. So anyway, I hear this happening, and my natural reaction to that is get up and go look, go see what's happening to that cow. And my wife basically tackled me at the door and said, "What are you even thinking? You can't go down there." And I said, "Well, somebody needs to go down there, and I'm the one hearing it." And dude, it was basically about 40 yards from where that thing did what we deem the yoo-hoo. Going back to that real quick, that guy that was doing that calling wasn't no man. No man can be that loud. Guarantee. Even on if you mic'd a guy and you really pump the mid-range, maybe, right? But that's the only way. And that call started moving down the valley, bro, at speeds that it shouldn't have been able to move through all that crap, right? And it was yoo-hooing up here by the house, and within literally 30 seconds, it was down at Little Creek, which is a mile away. How'd that happen? It was the same tone, same tonation. It wasn't two of them calling back and forth. It was one. And I have a theory about that. I think that maybe in that area, that's the time of year where they breed. And maybe he is trying to find him a girlfriend. I don't know. But
see, that's what we're talking about doing with our Alabama Bigfoot project. We're running long duration recorders 24/7. The recorders, they run for a month at a time. And the goal is, because, you hear like Scott Nelson and these other people, they talk about, well, the Sasquatch has a certain hertz they're putting out. And I think they don't understand. I don't know. I hate to say they don't understand what they're talking about, but that can vary.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I could make that hertz, or I could make that certain level they're talking about. I think what you need to go by, the way you could identify somebody would be by the octave. So let's say you recorded 3 different Sasquatch on your property. You're going to be able to tell which one's which by the octave. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And any researcher that I've watched, they've named the Sasquatches in their area. Right. They've named them and they know their sound. Right. And so you're right about that. The hertz thing, that could play into things, Stacy, because we run on a certain vibration, whether people know that or not. Everything on this earth is electric, right? And we run on a certain vibration. We see in a certain spectrum, right? And I think that these guys have the ability to not only see, but to change that vibration. And you talk about infrasound. We'll talk about that here in a minute if you want to, or I'll just continue the story. bro, I went down the rabbit hole and I went down deep and I was trying to find anything that made that noise. So I didn't look at all the Bigfoot people and all that at first. I didn't. I was listening to audio clips. Okay. And then one day I came across the Ohio howler. And
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. That's close. That's pretty close. And so that's what started me looking more into Bigfoot. At first, I wouldn't let my mind go there. Right. It's, I mean, anybody's, because it was a brand new thing to me. I'd never thought about Bigfoot, and I hunted all my life, never cared about it. But once you've experienced something that you can't explain, buddy, you're going to change whether you realize it or not. And you'll either get scared and run from it and don't want to talk about it to nobody ever, or kind of like we're doing, trying to embrace the thing and figure it out. That's all we're doing. But so that next spring, Stacy, I run hunting dogs, and quite frankly, they run better without me. My dogs they'll go squirrel hunting by themselves, and they'll tree squirrels, and then they stack them like cordwood on the front porch, bro. I ain't lying. I think their best hunt ever without me with them, because when I went with them, it screwed up the way they were trying to tree that squirrel. But I think the best day ever were 6 squirrels stacked on the front porch and all fresh, right? So they're proud of what they do. So anyway, those dogs, everybody in that country knew them and knew that they knew better than to mess with cows. My dogs don't chase cows. They get shot in the butt with a BB gun. Mm-hmm. So, and they just know better. But they started bringing up that calf's bones, bro. And I was dead on the money at what size I thought that calf was. There was nothing left with bones. There was no sinew. They were clean bones, but you could still tell that they were fresh. They were, the knee joint still had the knuckle, crap like that. Okay.
Yeah, you can tell how long a bone's been out there if you've seen a fresh kill.
Right. Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now back then I wasn't smart enough. I didn't look close enough to see if there were teeth marks, you know. But here's something I want y'all to contemplate, and you too, dude. That area, what could tear that calf apart? I mean, think about that. A mountain lion could not tear that calf apart. A mountain lion wouldn't touch that calf, wouldn't even try to mess with it. Because by that point, well, to give you an example of that, if y'all think I'm full of it, if you've ever watched Alaska, The Last Frontier, they had a calf about that size attacked by a full-grown coastal grizzly bear, and that calf survived, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so those calves ain't nothing to mess with, especially if they're scared of people. You better leave them alone, because they may be plumb wild and they'll run you over. They don't care. And so my dogs literally brought up the hindquarters of that little steer or whatever he was, and it was all separated bone that had been torn apart. Okay. Now, I don't think a human would have bothered to do that. Number one, the bones were down there in that no man's land where it's so thick you can't hardly get through it. Yeah. And the one thing I never got to do, I met the rancher who owned all that. Nice man. But I never got to ask him about that calf, or if he had lost any cows over the winter. Right. I did talk to his nephew about it, but I never heard the answer. I'd love to know that answer. But anyway, so that was that spring. And then this was all also, by the way, just before COVID started. So we had been on winter break at school. And like I said, I was a member of the Macomb Baptist Church. And me and my good buddy, Andy Rich, were invited to play a series out at the school, right? They had heard us. We played at different churches. We did a bluegrass thing. It was really fun. And so we go out to the school ground and we're playing for these kids, and they're bro, they knew George Strait as well as I did, dude. I mean, they weren't playing these little 6-year-olds, right? Yeah. And so we started singing songs. We had a great time. Had a dinner with them, and then it started getting dark, and they started making campfires. And this was the whole idea, is to camp out one night before school started. So anyway, the men of that area started asking us if we knew any ghost stories. And bro, I know too many. I've been a part of more than I'd like to even talk about. But I wasn't going to open my mouth first. It wasn't going to be me. I was going to see whoever else had anything to say. I'm drinking my sweet tea here, by the way.
You good, brother?
Drinking my sweet tea. It's an Oklahoma thing.
It's a Florida thing too, bro.
Oh, dude, gotta have it. But anyway, so we're listening, and one of the husbands yells out, "Hey, do you guys know any good ghost stories?" And I wasn't going to open my mouth. And then one of them threw out, "Do you know any Bigfoot stories?" And my ears perked, but I still wasn't going to open my mouth. And then one of the other guys yelled out, "Steve's only been here 4 or 5 years. He don't know yet." And that stuck in my mind. And I'm like, "All right, boys, I'm going to tell you what's happened to me." And so I told them the story. And one of them little kids, Stacy, after that thing was over, come up to me. And he said, "Sir, would you please make that sound again? I need to know what that sounds like, because I've seen and heard things that I don't understand." Okay. Right. And so guys, here's the thing. If you're worried about being a Christian and believing in this stuff, well, you ain't read your Bible. You ain't read the book of Enoch. You hadn't read the Watchers. It's all in there, man. You know, as far as I'm concerned, Stacy, I don't push my faith on anybody, but as far as I'm concerned, God made all this, right?
Yeah.
It's
not just the Bible that Bigfoot shows up in more than once. So I've been contacted by a guy recently of the Muslim faith.
Okay.
And he sent me like a whole document on things to read that he had put together.
Oh,
and
wow.
he believes that the Bigfoot are what they call jinn in the Muslim faith. But I'm going to have him on the show to talk about it, because I'd never known that. I didn't know there was stuff in the Quran about Sasquatch as well. I know there was some in the Bible, but, you know, me being a Christian, I haven't looked into everything, right?
Let me tell you just this one thing to kind of tickle your ears where that's going to go. All right. This is Luke 21 verse 11. Okay. And this guy was talking about, what did Jesus say about Bigfoot or Dogman or Skinwatchers, UFOs, any of that stuff? Okay. Luke 21:11, Jesus said, hang on one second. That may be on my front page. Yeah, I'm sorry. In those days, there will be fearful sights. Okay. Fearful sights. In the original translation, bro, the word was phobatra. Okay. Do you know what that word means? Phobatra?
Nope.
That word literally means scary monsters. Literally.
Gotcha.
And he also said, be expecting to see things in the sky that you've never seen before. Where are we at in time, guys? We are, if you read Revelations, we're definitely living in end days. I don't know where in end days. I don't worry about it because it's all God's plan anyway. But so I never looked at being a Christian as okay, I can't believe in that stuff.
Right.
So the word jinn is people think genie. Jinn is magic, jinn is spiritual, and I can't wait to see that show. That'll be fun, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. From my understanding at this point, jinn is basically a demon, right?
Correct,
and
correct.
I've had this whole thing this whole time because, I'll be honest with you, like when I first got into Bigfooting, my life went to shit.
Yep. Yep.
And it's a lot of people that have something happen. And, life happens. So,
Correct.
bad things
But-
do happen. So you can't relate it to everything to Bigfoot. But it's odd. The more and more people I talk to about it, it seems like there's some type of curse or something when you end up having an encounter with these things. And I think that the people who believe they're having positive interactions with these things, while I'm not doubting them at all, I believe you could have a positive interaction with it, but I think you could have a positive interaction with a demon until it shows you what it is.
In the good book, it says Satan will come as an angel of light. So he can transform into whatever he wants to transform into. And that sucker's messed with my life, bro. So that the only reason that I moved to Oklahoma and got married and all that was I went through a divorce that took me from my normal weight's about 220. And bro, within 6 weeks, I weighed 160 pounds. I look like a walking skeleton. Dude, I'd been married 23 years. I thought I was doing everything right and went through a hellacious divorce. But what really sucked, dude, was I didn't only lose my wife, I lost my kids. And like that was my son's a natural athlete. Okay. I was an athlete, but not that great. But that boy had a God gift of an arm. He could throw a football 80 yards and knock you over. I mean, he had a God's gift. And so he had D1 schools looking at him. He had like 8 of them. And he'd quarterbacked all his life from the time he was 8 years old all the way through starting as a freshman, right? He was the starting quarterback for his football team. And so anyway, I was trying to be the dad I'd always been and been at every football game, every practice, because mine didn't bother to do that for whatever reason. And it was hell, man. Life was hell on earth. And I'll tell you one other thing about that. You talk about that curse thing. I'm going to ask you a question and I'll tell you my answer. Have you ever been marked?
My uncle did some shit to me when I was a kid, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Well, so this is that is a form of being marked, and I'm very sorry that
that was a completely made up molestation joke. I probably shouldn't have made it. But,
no. I didn't get it. I'm sorry, but so, bro, when I was a young man in my 30s, before I was hurt, or late 20s. I was called the bread man, and I worked 70, 80 hours a week. And then I had a band Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, right? We played or practiced 5 nights a week. And at one point, we were asked to do a 5-state tour. And I asked my uncle about it, who happened to play harmonica for Waylon Jennings. And he said,
Nice.
son, you got a choice. You can either have your family or your band. I'm like, well, that sucks, right? And so I called my biological dad, and who had played professionally all over the country, and I asked him the same question. I got the same answer. So I chose not to pursue that 5-state tour and let them go on without me. But and it's always been in the back of my head, because I still love to play and write and all that. But back at Macomb, let's go down the road just a little bit. Asher, Oklahoma. Okay. Asher, Oklahoma from me was 14 miles. And Ada is another 20. And bro, it takes you about another hour from there to get to the furthest southeast corner of Oklahoma. And it's all wooded, dude. There's not a little bit of it that ain't wooded. And everybody knows the Falk story, right? The monster of Falk, Arkansas, that they made the movie about. You can tie all of that area, southeastern Oklahoma, the very tip of Texas, the very bottom of Arkansas. You can tie all of that to within a 30-mile range. So here's another story you might want to look into. It is a story of the natives who were pushed into that land back in the 1840s. And as a matter of fact, dude, you as much as you get out, loved your latest shows, by the way, just fantastic work. But as
Thank you,
as much as you get out, you have got to make a trip to Southeast Oklahoma.
Oh, it's coming, bro. It's coming, man.
It's different down there. I used to sell insurance down there, and yes, you could hear the banjos playing, and you better know where you're going up in them mountains because there's no signal. So if you get lost and your maps turns off, you could be there for days. So anyway, if you tie all that together and follow those woods, Asher, Oklahoma, there was a gentleman down there as a fire chief. And bro, he was doing a video on how to do controlled burns in your forest. I was really interested because my forest was way overgrown, but it also scared the crap out of me to deal with it. So he was showing that and I watched it. And then 2 days later, a girl said, "So who was playing Bigfoot?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And she said, she came back and messaged him, "Did you not see that thing run through the back of your video?" And he's like, "No, I was making a video about firefighting." And bro, you can see a tall, lanky, not fat, not muscled. I mean, this thing looked 8 foot tall, but it was skinny as a rail. Maybe it wasn't doing good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it ran through his woods in the shadows in the background, and you could see the shadow of it running the whole way across there.
See, we gotta find this video, everybody. Like I looked for it after we talked that day, and I couldn't find it online, but I would love to see that.
So somebody tried to debunk it at one time, but here's the problem. I know the guy, right? I've met that guy that did that video, and he is a firefighter. He is what he said he was, and he was doing what he said he was doing. So to heck with him, right? Everybody wants to debunk something.
Yeah.
Like that tree break that I showed you, bro. One guy said, "Well, that had to have been snow load." No, it wasn't. We snow here in Fort Cobb, but bro, we might get 6 inches of snow, but it's melted the next day. There's no snow load. Anyway, so me and debunkers may or may not get along depending on their theories. But so life started going to hell again. And by the way, I asked you if you were marked because when I was a young man, I was marked.
What do you mean by that? Like
literally picture four fingers. Okay. Now put claws on them. Now, in the middle of the night, that rakes across your chest and you wake up with it the next day.
Wow. Okay.
That's marked. And that happened to me. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even know it had happened until I got back home, took my shirt off. My wife said, "What the hell happened to you?" And I had been traipsing through the woods and there were mesquite bushes there. But I'm not going to let no bush stick me in the chest and make me bleed. You know, I'm just going to use my hands and push that away. So that doesn't make sense. And to this day, I kind of know spiritually what it meant. It meant that things were attracted to me, whether I wanted them to be or not. And I've seen things in the shadows that can't be explained. The easiest one to tell y'all about is my family and I went to the Alamo one year. Well, you know, Amarillo's way away from San Antonio. We went to the Alamo one year and we were stupid tourists and thought it was open 24/7, right? Mm-hmm. So we go down there about 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. It's getting dusk. And the family is talking to the security guard and they won't let us in, but you can see the main courtyard gate if you just walk around the corner and look through a little cage wall there. So that's what I did. I wasn't interested in what they were talking about. So I walked around that corner and bro, I'm a very honest person. And this is what happened. A man figure fell off the wall, ran into the middle of the courtyard where it was light from the lights above it and disappeared. And that man was wearing Civil War style clothing. Okay, so I've had crap like that happen to me all my life, and I don't like it, to be quite frank, but it does. So anyway, my wife starts taking pictures, and there's orbs that show up a lot. So my belief, Stacy, on that whole demon thing is I think you're right in a way. Have you ever went down the rabbit hole of the Nephilim?
See, I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend about this last night because it's like I'm missing something here as to why people think Bigfoot are the Nephilim, because the Bible's description of the Nephilim varies from
Greatly.
that of a Sasquatch.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So are we talking about a descendant of the Nephilim, or are we talking about they are the Nephilim? Like, how does that go?
If you read Revelations, if you read where Jesus talked about the monsters, he used that word intentionally. He used all his words intentionally. And Phobotron means scary monster. But so the reason that the Great Flood happened, and I don't care what anybody says, you can go to the Grand Canyon and see the Great Flood happened, is God wanted to wipe that out. He didn't want that on earth with us. But it also said that God was bringing judgment because these things were sinning against God and creation. That's the word you need to think about. Okay, so if they're sinning against God, they left their place in heaven and to be with earthly women. And let's just be honest, women can be hot, dude. You know that as well as I do. And but they left their place in heaven knowing that wasn't their job. They were supposed to be watchers. Okay. Now I want you to think for just a second. What do we think about Bigfoot? I see a Bigfoot as a watcher. They're always interested in what we're doing, but they stay away. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like voyeurism, which I think is against the law.
Correct. It's like against the law for them to try to make a contact of you or things like that, but sometimes it happens. So here's the part that I think is missing. When he said sinning against nature, that meant that, quite frankly, they were having sex with anything they could stop long enough. Horses, apes, whatever. And you think about the Greek mythology of the half horse, half man. What if it ain't mythology? These things, these Bigfoot Sasquatch creatures, in my mind, have a giant spiritual component. Bro, you were talking the other day with Les Stroud and said your house got slapped.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you could see my land, dude, where we live now, you would say that's impossible. But my house has been slapped 3 or 4 times, at least 3 that I remember exactly. And it wasn't no little tree limb hitting it because I've trimmed my trees back, but it was like this. It was intentional. It was to get my attention, right? But bro, I live in kind of a neighborhood. There's probably 15 houses, 20 houses around here. The thing would have had to come out of the national forest, which is the lake right across the road, come over fences and slap my house if it was just a physical thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cause like you could do it. You could slip off through the woods, but you'd be passing houses. You're in a lot of people, you know, why wouldn't you just stay down there on the refuge? Cause the refuge ain't far down the road from me.
Correct.
Right?
Same here. Same here. Yeah.
But you would still have to come up to get to my house.
Right.
You didn't walk through a neighborhood, but you had to come with like the dogs barking and all that noise. You know what I mean?
Well, so, but Les wasn't the only one that said he had, or the other gentleman, I'm forgetting his name right now. I love his stuff. Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Robert.
Robert, love his stuff. He's a brilliant guy. Good Lord. You listen to him talk, and I just don't even want to talk after listening to him. Anyway.
Brother, I have to edit his, or I don't have to. He hired me to edit his videos now, so I make all of his content. And so I listen to him talk literally all day long. That's my job. I'm listening to his episodes and I'm cutting them up. And you know, I've been on this one episode now for like the last 6 days. So I'm hoping we can start talking about something else in the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is. okay, so I've done a lot of things in life. I have been to college, but it didn't happen until I was 30. So maybe I was smart enough to retain a little bit of it. But that old boy knows how to pontificate. Okay. He knows how to talk. Yep. And he's good at it. He's very good at it. I love his style. But he also backs it up with receipts, bro. You know, the videos he shows, it's not just, and then his summation at the end of what he's doing. Oh my gosh, the guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, okay, right before COVID, this is, you want to get into those pictures. This is kind of when the spiritual stuff started happening, the pictures and all. Can you pull those up?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about the tree break first.
Oh, yeah. No problem. Okay. So
let me go ahead and pull this one up.
Okay, cool. So there's a reason that we moved from Macomb to over here to Fort Cobb. And we'll get into that in a little bit. This tree break is literally 1.5 miles from my house. Bro, it borders the lake. Okay. There's a video I put out on Facebook about it. The tree, the base of the tree, I would give it a 6-inch base, 5 to 6 inch base. But up there at 6 foot, and it was a perfectly healthy tree at the time, up there, the 5.5 6 foot range is where that thing broke, right? Now, look at that. Tell me a man could do that. There's no man that could grab it above it and below it at 6 foot and snap it with his hands. It's impossible.
No, and my problem, the only thing I could think that it would be, because it almost looks like it kind of exploded, but that maybe it's dried out now. If that was wind damage, you would see the other trees kind of torn down.
Correct. And if you watch that video, bro, that thing's surrounded by trees. It's got big oaks and cedars all the way around it that are bigger than it.
Yeah, I wish I could have got the video so people could see it more, but I couldn't get the link to download.
Okay. I'm not good at this crap, but I'll send you, I sent the video through Messenger, but I'll send you a link via email, and see what we can get done there. But if you look around this thing, not only is it broke right there, and you know, people can say lightning strike. Okay, well then why didn't it set fire? Why is there not one fire mark on that tree? Every tree I've ever been seen, or every tree that I've ever seen that's been hit by lightning, you can see the char marks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the wind thing, we get crazy winds here, dude. We had a tornado come through the other day. We get lots of them here. And bro, that thing, they had 110 mile-an-hour wind for 20 minutes sustained in a town 40 miles from here. Okay. So that, isn't that hurricane force?
Oh yeah, dude. That's the thing, like Nebraska and places like that where they really got no trees or nothing to block them. I don't think these Midwestern countries realize, or states, these Midwest states, I don't think they realize that they got hurricane force winds all the time.
All the time. This was a record. Now I don't know if it still is, but there was a record set outside of Canyon, Texas. I'm from Amarillo originally. Canyon's 30 miles south. The hardest wind to ever blow in the proper United States blew there for 30 minutes one day, and I think it's like 130 mile an hour. And it was sustained. It may have been a little more than that, but it was, at that time, it was a record. And but you can't, and here's the thing. I don't think a bear's weight would, if a bear tried to climb that little tree, number one, we don't really have bears around here. They're further southeast. But if he tried to climb that tree and it broke, I don't think it would have broke that way. There's nothing here big enough to make that tree break like that, but yet they're set. Not only that, but here, let's get into the native part of it just a little bit. Native Americans. My great grandmother was Cherokee, so it's a family thing. We don't have rolls, and I don't think I can find a roll to save my life. But I mean, look at that schnoz. I'm a Cherokee. But so on the native thing, they used to break a tree in a certain way to make it still grow, and it would point to a direction. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is pointing at exactly where the other things happened on this lake at Fort Cobb. You want to go there?
Yeah, let's go there, brother.
Okay, so we moved to Cobb after COVID because of a house fire. We can get into that here in a little bit. But so, dude, life went on, and I always in the back of my mind, I thought about the Bigfoot thing and the sounds and what I'd experienced at that point. But when I came here, it was like my wife made me come here because I didn't want to give up my farm. It was paradise to me. And, but she convinced me, and she was right, that I had to come here because I was running a sawmill that I owned at that time. And I had a chainsaw accident, and it just about took my right hand off. Yeah. It took me 3 years, praise God. Took me 3 years to get to where I could play guitar again. That was my main concern. But this is what's weird, Stacy. I've had lots of injuries. I've had a lot of pain in my life. But bro, this is different. Okay. This feels like, if you can imagine your fingers being stretched over the bone so tight that it hurts. That's what my hand feels like every day. Okay. But I take so many different things for my back, gabapentin and stuff like that, it helped, but it doesn't cure it by any means. But so anyway, we get over here. We've been here about 6 months. And, down here, dude, this time of year, normally we're 100+ degrees with 100% humidity, and you don't want to go outside. And I love to fish, and it's July. Or I'm sorry, it's July. It's 1st of July 3 years ago. I'll never forget it. I love to fish with my dogs. I can talk my wife and daughter into going fishing about once a year, twice. But so me and the dogs load up, and you can't fish in the daytime here when it's like that. I mean, number one, you're going to sweat to death and about die of heat stroke. But the fish they don't want to bite, right? They don't bite till the nighttime. So
yeah,
if you can catch them right at dark, you can kill them, right? But if you don't, you got to do what I do, which the shad on this lake at Fort Cobb Lake, if you pull it up, by the way, you can map, Stacy, you can map national forests and rivers and creeks from here to where we used to live in Macomb. Those creatures never have to show themselves.
No,
they don't.
That's what I think people, they're like, well, there's so many people living around here. Like, if you look at Florida alone,
right,
there's so much wilderness. And then you have these cities built in it, but these things could come from the Everglades and come all the way up the state.
Oh yeah.
And you wouldn't have to to get into somebody's yard.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, literally pull up a USGS map of Oklahoma, and you can and consider the fact that the Canadian River forks and goes north and south here. I know of a group of people that are based out of Oklahoma City. The Canadian River runs right through their area, the North Fork, and they have sightings there, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't use this guy's name, but I have permission to tell his story. Okay.
Okay.
And he has his reasons, and I respect that. He's a native man. He's a good man. And bro, so Fort Cobb Lake is out here, and then you got the town of Binger about 20 miles east of here. Just past that, they got this thing called the Cherokee Y, and that happens to be where this guy hunts. Okay, he's got family land that goes back generations there, and he's been yelled at. He's had trees thrown at him. The craziest one to me, if you really think about, he showed pictures on Facebook of this. He had a camera mounted to a bow holder that you screw into a tree, right? Okay, when you put that thing in a tree, bro, it's going 6 inches deep into a cedar that's alive, and it's, you know what a lag bolt is, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's basically a lag bolt with a hook, is what it is. Every single time the dude has set up cameras around there just to watch deer, something tears his cameras up 2 or 3 times, and there's nobody over there. It's away from any town. There's a gas station not far, but I mean, you can't even say a hobo would walk out. They'd be stupid to go out there. Why would you go out there in the middle of the night? But anyway, he showed a picture to me of that spike in the tree that had literally been ripped all the way out of the tree. It still had the core of the tree in each group, bro. What kind of force did it take to do that?
Right.
Right. I mean, dude, you could hook onto a truck with a chain and hook onto it, and you might get a similar result. But by the way, the camera that was on it was destroyed. He has had whatever it is that's over there, knows that he's there to hunt. He kills pigs there, and he leaves some of them. Well, one day he goes out to deer hunt. And he's real excited because it's late November where big bucks run around here, and I mean big ones. And he gets out to his deer stand, bro, and there's a dead deer laying about 30 foot from his stand. And he's like, what the crap is this? And it was a fresh kill, but it wasn't killed by human means. Okay. There was no bullets. There was no arrows. There was nothing except for a broken neck. And he went ahead and got in his stand. He had built a Cadillac of a stand, but he couldn't get that out of his mind. Why is that thing there? And it was like, they're going, here you go. You feed us, we'll feed you. He said, that's what I came to in that. And he still hunts there, dude, but I wouldn't go in there by myself. And I go in our national forest by myself all the time, but I don't think I'd go in there by myself. But anyway, so back to the middle of the night, I'm out on the lake, and it's a glass calm night, right? For some reason around here, it gets calm at night, and glass calm. And I'm the only boat on the water. Okay. I run a 18-foot pontoon boat with a 75 horse Merc on the back of it.
Nice.
And it's the old style 2-stroke. I call it Old Smoky. And, you know, they put out smoke as you're going across the water, and they're not quiet. And I was going over to this bay where I knew there were, it was just full of shad. Well, what I would do is I'd catch my shad at night, and then I'd run jug lines, and then I'd go out afternoon and check them. Right. So I was up all night, and I would normally not get back up until noon or 1 or whatever, get a little sleep. But so I'm over there, and bro, I've had to replay this a million times in my mind. And I'm just going to tell you the story. As I'm pulling up to this point where the shad are always at, I'm 60 yards from shore at least, and my motor's running, and I heard something growl. Okay. At the time, I didn't think nothing about it because I'm in a boat. I don't give a crap if you growl. You going to swim out here? You know, if it was whatever it was, is what my mind was saying. But I heard something growl. Then I'm sitting in there fishing, didn't catch nothing. I did catch some shad for blue cat fishing for jugs, but I didn't catch nothing. I'm sitting there fishing, and I hear, by the way, I did not have a good spotlight on the boat at that time. By God, I have one on there now. But I hear what sounds like a boat wake washing up on the shore. You've heard that a million times, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes a specific sound. And I got to thinking about it. There weren't no other boats on the water. Right. None. And it was flat glass. So then I'm thinking, okay, something is over there waiting, and it's as big as a freaking cow. The problem with that is there's no cattle in that area. That's National Game Preserve there. That's the feds' land. And, you can build on down the shore from it, but you can't do anything as far as grazing rights or any of that. There's no cows that can get to the lake right there. And what's funny is this is at a place called Party Cove. During the day on the 4th of July, there will be 50 boats lining the shore on the north side, on the north side. Okay. I'm on the south side. It's 3:00 in the morning and I'm hearing wading and I'm fishing, but I hear it and I'm in my mind, I'm like, bro, that don't make no sense. There's no boats around here. What is that? And then, dude, all of a sudden out of nowhere, remember, I'm parked about 50, 60 yards, maybe 80 yards. I was in a little deeper water trying to catch some catfish away from the shore. And all of a sudden, a splash hits beside the boat, about 10 foot from the boat, but it wasn't a fish, dude. I know what even big fish sound like when they hit the water.
Yeah.
Me and you know a lot about sound. If you ever pick up a big rock and you're over a creek and you just toss it and that clunk that it does, right?
The goom.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very noticeable that it's a different sound. That hit 10 foot beside my boat, and I could see the waves off of it. Bro, the only thing I could think of that could do it would be a catapult from back in the Bronze Age. The only mechanical thing I could think of that could do that was a catapult, but it was no fish. It was a rock. And it was probably 25 pounds. I've tried to figure it out. It would be like taking a bowling ball, a man's, not a woman's would be too light, and shot putting that sucker 80 yards to get to my boat.
Mm-hmm.
And that scared me so bad. I looked at my dog, Buddy, who was my fishing buddy, and Jake, who's sitting over here not far from us. And I said, boys, it's time to go. Okay. And so I fired that boat up and we got the crap out of there. So that was on July 1st. Around here, locals know not to get on the lake on July 4th because it's the biggest party you've ever seen, and people are jet skiing and boat. I mean, it's just there's people everywhere. But so on July 2nd, I'm back in that cove, but this time I'm on the north side because I don't want any part of what's on the south side. Okay. And everything's fine, bro. There's no sounds, there's no anything. And I'm casting and I'm catching shad, having a good time, putting the shad in the boat, getting ready to blue cat. So, and then for no reason, and once again, it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, for no reason at all, I've learned to listen to my gut over the years. It took me a long time to listen to my gut, but I've learned to listen to my gut. And for no reason at all, I literally heard in my gut, if you will, get out of here now. And I can't explain that, dude. I don't know how to explain that. Infrasound, maybe they can make you weird and feel dizzy or whatever. I did. I felt weird when it happened, but I freaking got out of there. And here's what's interesting about that. If you guys been in the Bigfoot world for a while, you know that they mimic other animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The hoot owl, they'll do the hoot owl, right? But they don't know how to do, or I've never heard them do the trailing sound at the end. Okay.
Right.
As I'm leaving, as I'm firing up the boat and getting out of there, I hear a hoot owl that hooted 3 times and didn't do the trailing. And it just stuck in my mind. And I'm like, I don't think that was an owl because I've heard that before. I don't think that was an owl.
Right.
And it just didn't sound right. It sounded close, but not right. So I got the crap out of there, man. I didn't want anything to do with it. Roll around to July 4th. on the day where you really normally would never catch me on the lake, my buddy Todd calls and says, "Hey, the striper are running, and they're running in Party Cove right now." And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I don't want to go out there. Number one, it's 125,000 degrees, and there's 50 people playing 50 different songs on boats that I could never afford. And I'm just not into it." He said, "Bro, they're running." So I put my boat in the water and I go over there and I'm trolling. This is 4th of July. Okay. On the north side of that shore, if I would have took the time to count, there would have at least been 75 to 100 boats lined up on about a quarter-mile stretch. All of them were playing different music. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, this sucks. But I'm trolling through there and I get away from them and I get over to the north side. And because of everything that had happened, of course, I'm really zoned in on those woods. I want to see what those woods are and how deep they are and what happened that night. I needed to know. So, and here's another interesting little side note. The day before, I just said in my mind, I said, "You know what? I'd sure love to see one of y'all." And I just left it there. Day before, 2 days before, something like that. And, but that day, it's freaking 2:00 in the afternoon, dude. It's bitter hot. The fish were biting, but it was just too hot to fish. I'm cruising onto that south side, and I just happened to glance back into the deepest part of those woods, and there he stood. Right. And my mind wouldn't even let me accept, even though all the crap I've had happen, my mind wouldn't let me accept what I just saw. Okay, I was like, there's no way. Maybe I made that. Maybe it was that, what do they call that, where humans can see crap in the clouds? I started trying to say, no, I didn't see nothing. But, bro, I saw it, and I can still picture it in my mind. It was 8 foot tall. This one was incredibly muscular, and I was 400 yards away from it. But you could see its height and its bulk easily from 400 yards. It was jet black. There was not any color but black. And it was so black that it didn't really make sense, if that makes sense. It was
they're
dark.
almost like they absorb light.
They have exactly right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd heard that before, dude. And you're right, it did. But this thing, it was just standing between two trees, and I saw it for 5 seconds. And that's the only sighting I've ever seen. And I'm going to tell y'all, you better be listening to Stacy, because you might not want to wish to see one. Because it could be while one's throwing a tree at your butt, right? It could be my situation where one threw a rock. And here's the thing. We know that they may or may not use tools. I think they could probably, but they are accurate when they throw something.
And now let's hang out there for a second. Okay.
Okay.
Me and my wife and my buddy David Lauer were walking in Osceola, and we were on this old logging road, right? It's not a logging road. It's a road, but it's just in the middle of damn nowhere, right?
Don't you mean Osceola?
Nope.
Osceola.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, there is a difference there for anybody
okay.
But Osceola, Aucilla.
Okay.
But we're walking, and now the palmettos are above your head. They're probably 8 feet tall.
Right. Yeah.
And it's thick. I can't see through there with a thermal. I myself, if you were standing 5 feet in the woods, I could not hit you with something.
Right, correct.
But a rock comes through them palmettos and hits my wife in the fingernail. And it hit her hard. It swole her tip of her finger up.
She been marked, dude. Oh.
But how do you do that? That was my thing. It's like, how do you throw it?
Well,
how did you throw that through that shit? Because I can't do it, and I'm pretty accurate myself.
Right.
All I used to
right.
do is play quarterback. Daddy set up the tires in the yard, and brother, I
Yep.
would spend the whole afternoon just throwing passes.
Right. Right.
And I couldn't. It doesn't make sense. I don't think anybody could. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, so nobody else can. I'm saying nobody could do that.
Were
Right.
you able to find the rock afterwards?
Oh no, because the road is just like
It's layered with rock.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah. And that ain't a wind blowing a rock. So give me a break. If it hit her hard enough to make her finger swell
It
up,
smacked. It was like,
wow.
you know what I mean? And it was because she jumped. She's like, ow. And, and it's no way any of us could have done it.
Right.
But it's just their accuracy. Something's up with that.
I wonder if it's all a warning system.
I have
In
no
other
idea.
words, well, the reason I say that is that old boy that threw that thing, that Sasquatch, in my mind, that's what it was, because I saw that thing that day, and bro, he was big enough.
Yeah.
He was big enough. No doubt in my mind what I saw, and he was big enough to do it. But I wonder if it's not a warning, just like that "get out of here" was a warning that you're encroaching on my territory. It's just a thought, right? Because that thing, I mean, if it hit my pontoon boat, it'd have put another dent in it, and I'd have saved the dent and circled it. But it hit about 10 foot away. But you're right, their accuracy is uncanny. There's a video, I think it was in the Northwest, and one of them stood up and tossed a rock at some kids. And bro, he looked like, you couldn't see it real well, of course, but you could see the arm motion. You could see the rock coming out of his hand, and he looked like a left-handed sidearm pitcher.
Right.
And it hit right where he wanted it to. So you're right. They can do that. I'm glad they don't do it all the time, but they can do it.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Well, I think personally, bro, I think that's how they kill deer. I mean,
100%.
Why chase it if you can throw a rock and hit it in the head?
And that's also, that's a form of using tools.
Correct. It is. Yeah.
I mean, a chimpanzee sticking a long piece of straw down in an ant's hill to pull up and eat the ants off of it. That's a tool. He didn't build it, but he did make it.
He created it in his mind. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Those things in my mind, they're not just a great ape. I personally think that they are a form of Nephilim that's a descendant of when those things sinned against nature. Right. That's what I think. But now, I mean, can I prove it? No, but it all lines up. Every bit of it lines up with the Word of God. And dude, God, okay, let's look at it rationally for a minute, just for a second. I know of a story of a mountain lion that had been radio collared in New Mexico. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't even got there yet with my friend's other story, but this lion was radio collared in New Mexico. It followed the Canadian River all the way down through the Panhandle of Texas, past where I lived. It went over into the Oklahoma Panhandle, and it went back up into the Colorado Panhandle, and it went all the way back to where it started. And bro, it was never seen once by a human. Never once. Okay.
Right.
Now, yes, mountain lions are stealthy. Of course they are. That's what they do. But I've seen them. My brother had one stalking. Way too close. If I'd have been him, I'd have shot it. But he was very, very concerned about the laws of the time. And so he had to backtrack, bro, to his four-wheeler because the thing was stalking him down the side of a cliff. And literally, when he first saw it, all he saw was its whiskers, and he's like, "Oh crap, that's a lion. That ain't a deer." And it literally, just like a jungle lion in Africa would do, it stalked him. And It turns out that they had put 4 mountain lions in the Texas Panhandle at that time to thin the deer population because there's so many. You know, they talk these days about making us try to eat crickets and bugs. Bro,
Oh yeah.
why would you do that? God has got everything in his grocery store that you need, and it don't cost nothing but the physicality to go get it.
The problem with that is, like, I think a lot of people don't realize is after the Depression started,
Right.
it was just like 2 years into the Depression that most of the white-tailed deer was almost extinct.
Correct. That's true. They
You know
hunted
what I
them
mean?
to dang near, yes, they hunted them to dang near extinction. They did.
Yeah, and
And-
a funny story. You talked about a tagged cougar. Some doofus in Florida
Uh-oh.
shot and killed a radio collared panther,
Oh God.
and the only way they knew is because that panther all of a sudden was going down the interstate at 80 miles an hour.
Dude, I mean, come on. How unless the thing is after you, leave it alone.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, come on. Those things are part of. So that brings me to my next point. There has been some DNA evidence recovered through hair samples. Here's what's interesting, Stacy. And these are the hair samples. You may even know some of the guys that were involved. They went and took Packers tape, and they inverted the Packers tape and wrapped it around trees and put jars of peanut butter above it, trying to get fingerprints or hair or whatever. Well, they were successful. They got it. Every lab, there were only 3 labs that would even look at it once they told them what it was. But it was 3 independent labs at universities in America. Every single laboratory came back and said that the DNA matched a Middle Eastern woman on the mother's side from 13,000 years ago. Kind of interesting right there. It also said, and here's the part that blew my mind, the father's sample. So you got the, what is it, mitochondrial, and then the father, however that works. So there's 2 different kinds of samples, and they can nowadays split it apart and tell what's what. And the father's side, that genome, it's not in any of our books or records anywhere, ever.
Right.
They don't know what it is. That leads me more to my Nephilim theory of a descendant of Nephilim. They talk about there were giants in the land in those days. Bro, the Native Americans talk about the red-headed giants that were all over America that they had to kill out. Okay.
Yeah.
They have, I don't care what the Smithsonian says, bro, there's been thousands of giant bones found across America. And even what was it, what are those islands? The Guadalupe Islands and some other islands, they found giants.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can find giants, we can find lizards, right? By the way, bro, this is a very interesting thing. When was the word dinosaur invented?
Oh, I have no idea, but it was like in 1900s. I know that.
It was early 1900s. Before that, they called them dragons.
Yeah.
They called everything a dragon. Here's what they just found in nature. There is a dadgum beetle somewhere in this world. I watched the video on it. And forgive me, ladies, but when he farts fire.
I do the same thing myself, brother. You'd have to see it.
But the fire comes from his insides, though, dude. It's not a external lighting. He literally produces fire to scare off a bird trying to eat him. So if we got something that can produce fire, doesn't that twist your mind on what all has God created, bro? What all is on this earth? We have no idea what all is on this earth. You know, the scientists think they've got it all figured out, but they won't allow Sasquatch to even be talked about, except for Dr. Meldrum. There just wasn't many people that would willingly do it.
Right.
And can I tell you one other thing? It doesn't need to be proved by the government, bro. They already know. They don't need proof.
Yeah.
They know, right? They don't need one killed on a table. They already know what those things are. They're just not gonna
think about it, dude. Think about it. You've seen one. Okay. No
Yep.
matter what anybody says to you, that's never going to change. You know what
Correct.
happened. Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
if you saw one, why
Yeah.
would you be naive enough to think that they don't know?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a story. I think it may have been the Cree people, but I'm not 1,000% sure on that. So forgive me if I say it wrong. But there was a story about a long, long time ago out in Arizona. Let's just say the Cree people, the Cree medicine man told this story. And oh, by the way, everybody says, well, they're just stories. How can you believe a story? When was the first written word written?
Yeah.
It was thousands of years after the stories happened, but in that particular group of natives, bro, they're not allowed to change one word of a story, not one. So they pass it from generation to generation to generation, telling the exact same story. And a long time ago, a bunch of Crees supposedly roped one. And when it knew it was captured, because they roped it with several grass ropes, is what was said, it sat down and started talking to them in their language. Okay, there's one example. Another example that I was fortunate enough to hear about is a rancher out close to California, way back in the day in the 1800s. He worked with the natives out there. He didn't fight against them. He worked with them. And one day he watches a group of natives take a big old plate of deer meat and whatever vegetable they had grown up to this place on the mountain. Well, the next day he sees it again, and the next day he sees it again. And so he asks the guy on the fourth day, what do y'all do? Where are you taking that meat? They said, we have a friend that lives up there on that mountain, and we were told to feed him while he's here. And they said, the guy says, a friend? Yeah. And so he prized for 3 or 4 more days. Nobody will talk about it. And finally, one of the medicine men came out and said, look, it's a Sasquatch. And we were told to feed it. They said in their language that a star from heaven came down to the earth and 3 of them stepped out of it. And they were told to feed and take care of them while they were there. So we're just now learning that aliens are real. Okay. We need to open our mind to what else is real. And having said that, Stacy, truly, this is my true heart. There's a clear and present danger in our woods that they don't tell us about.
Mm-hmm.
And you might see one, you might hear one, you might not. But I've read stories where woodsmen have been ripped to shreds and only like jaw fragments have been found. But what was weird is the lower legs on this particular one, the bones of the legs were put back into the jeans and left. Now, why would an animal do that?
Right.
That's a fear tactic, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bear wouldn't do that. A bear wouldn't eat the meat through the jeans. He'd rip the jeans off and eat the meat.
Yep.
So people, I don't tell anybody how to live. I don't judge people. I've been judged too much in my own life. So I just don't do that. But we live in a world that is so vastly different than what we've been told. What they said while we were growing up is just not the truth. The truth has been hidden. So let's go to that real quick. If that native story true and they captured one, the thing told them, if you will take me to, I think it was Estacada, Colorado, and leave me there, I'll never come back your way. And it never did. But that's in there, bro. That's in their stories. Okay. It's said by some people that in certain parts of California or wherever that the natives worked with them some. They knew sign language and stuff. On the other hand, though, if you ever read or hear the story of, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of his name, in Southeast Oklahoma, the story is where women and children started going missing. And so they set out a group of elite hunters, elite warriors to go find them, because at first it was chickens and then it was horses and pigs and whatever. Then what it was is and this is their tradition, when a woman had her monthly cycle, they would put her out in a tent by herself.
Hell yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You don't know why?
Yeah,
you don't have no idea why?
Bro, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. They do, hey, you do you, man. But yeah, they had the reasons. But anyway, those women started going missing. And so they sent out a hunting party, and long story short, about 100 miles away, deep into the Arkansas mountains, they found the things, and the things confronted them. Oh my gosh, I'll think of it here in a minute. But the guy that ran the thing was not only a native soldier. This general was not only a native soldier, but he was a scout for the American Army, and he was known to be like 6'6", incredibly built. And when they found the pile of not only human remains, but everything else piled up, and there was feces on it and there was pee on it, it enraged them. Okay. It enraged the natives. And then one of those things stepped out, and this guy gets a shot off on it, and it wounds it. And he went over and decapitated it with a Indian sword or knife or whatever. And well, that enraged the other creatures that were around their friend. So they paid him back by not only decapitating him, but decapitating his horse, bro, with one swipe. That's the story. One swipe. How big was that creature?
Right.
I mean, come on. And oh, by the way, that's about maybe 30 miles from Falk, Arkansas.
Mm.
And that story goes back. The county seat down there is the guy's name. They named the county. They named a town after him. He was that well known in the community and well loved. And so when they decapitated him and his horse, the other natives that were with him killed them all. So don't tell me that it's all peaceful stuff. There's a clear, bro. If you want to, what do you call it? If you want to get froggy, I think they'll get froggy pretty quick, and you have no idea what you're dealing with.
See, right? And that's like, I know these people, they go out there and they think they're their friends, right? They're the forest friends and stuff of that nature, which, hey, I'm not going to argue that with you. But I tell you, I camp out there alone, and I am terrified every time I do. I'm not terrified, but I'm scared.
Right. Even though you know what's there and what could be there, you can settle into it after a time. I get you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I just have to. It's the only way. It's a double-edged sword, because it's the only way that I'm going, that I believe that I'm going to have another encounter, is to be out there alone and have something walk up to me.
Yep.
But at the same time,
I mean, all of my stuff has been one of my own, so it makes sense.
It's like going to the dentist. I got to do it. I don't want to fucking do it. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck, but I got to do it.
Yeah, I got to go next week, and I'm not looking forward to it, dude. But yeah, I mean, in your world, it's your job, right? It's the proof is out there. And by the way, that footage you and your dad got, man, bro, I know why your dad was that scared, because I've been that scared. I know why. People that I'm a big bad man, I don't get scared of nothing, bullshit. Go out there and meet one of them suckers and see what you think.
Yeah, it's easy to talk that. And those are the same guys that when you go to get into a fight with them, they're just running their mouth and trying to stick their chest out and scare you out. Because the guys that mess you up, they don't say much.
Truth. Very true.
Still water runs deep, brother.
Yep. Biggest bully at Travis Junior High was a guy named Robert. and he picked on this kid one day. This big kid, but this was a big, quiet kid that never said a word to nobody. And that big, quiet kid beat Robert all the way around the school and back into the school before he was through. He whooped him all the way. And Robert never even got a punch in. And so, yeah, the quiet ones, you better watch out. You know, the people that calculate things and think about things, they don't run their mouth. They just, if the call is made, they answer the call.
Oh, yeah.
Just that simple. So,
You know, and so like that's what I was saying. Talk is just cheap when it comes
right,
to
right.
And these people are like, oh, I want to see one. I'll run it down. Maybe you will, but I doubt it. I ain't betting on that shit.
Have you seen the videos where something goes through the woods and you can obviously see something's going through the woods, but you can't see anything?
Brother, we got a game cam. I didn't get it. Let me redo that. Friend of mine got a game cam video from this spot in Alabama, and there is a clear human-shaped apparition. I say human-shaped because it's got 2 arms and 2 legs.
Correct.
It looks like the predator walks by.
Oof. Yep. No, thank you.
You know, and that's just. I know that stuff's out there and exists. Is it a ghost? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm saying.
I've heard philosophies of they can turn their body and make their fur shimmer.
Yeah.
And pretty much make themselves disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard where they have appeared or disappeared right in front of somebody.
A buddy of mine, Matt Williams, he said the one he saw, its face wasn't there yet.
Oh, wow.
Like the half of its face was just kind of shimmering like it wasn't there.
Yep.
But it was, you know what I mean?
That dude oh my God. I mean, so here's the thing. If they're demonic, I think they are spiritual, and I think some of them are demonic, or a lot of them are. I can't explain how natives worked with them, but like we said earlier, Satan can appear as an angel of light. So who knows? Yeah. But we have no idea what we're playing with, man. We can't comprehend to that level yet. I think, okay, speaking of yet, did you know that the Alaskan natives, the Eskimos, said that in the last days, those things will be seen more and more and more? Have they been being seen more and more and more?
See, that's where I'm at. I'm like, is it that they're being seen more, or is it now because we have the internet, so we see more of it? I don't know.
It could be that. It could be that. But yeah, I mean, you just multiply all the cameras on all the phones, dude. And
the reports now, people got an outlet, places like here and other places. Right. Now they can all come forward. And so I think it's just getting reported more. It doesn't mean that it has been seen more, but there are definitely more reports going on. So, you know.
Well, so you look at end time prophecies, and in my mind, we're in the middle of it. And I'm okay with that because it was God's plan. It wasn't my plan to be born at this time, but it was God's plan. So, and in the Bible, by the way, folks, there are 365 verses that says, fear not. I wonder if he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
I've also heard, Stacy, and I don't know it to be true. I'll tell you this. You see one, or you hear one, or you experience one, you're not going to be thinking about, oh, I got to get my camera, I got to get my flash set up. You're going to be thinking, how the hell can I get out of here?
Oh, yeah, and that's the problem. I hate it when people are like, why didn't they get their cameras out? It's like, bro, I don't give a damn. You walk off in the woods and see a deer and try to get your camera out real quick and take a picture.
Correct. Yeah.
Good luck.
I take a lot of deer pictures, but it's from the road as I'm driving by, and I just drive by real slow. And so I've got the ability to do that, but there's a fear level with this that comes over you when the thing is around you. there's a level of fear that's almost terrifying when you're close enough to one that it can throw a rock and damn near kill you. You get terrified. You don't get scared. You get terrified. And so when I get terrified, my brain's telling me to run, but my legs are sitting still. I ain't thinking about getting the camera out. So everybody has different reactions to it. But my other question to you there is, I've heard also where people have said, in the name of Jesus, get away from me, and the thing gets away from them.
Yep.
I haven't had that happen. But I've heard it enough that it's stuck in my mind. So,
I just wish I could have had a thought like that, because my problem is like when it's there, it's like, oh no, you know what I mean?
God, yeah.
And everything leaves your mind.
Yep.
Everything.
That's
Getting
why
the
you
phone
do the
out,
deep dive.
pulling my gun, doing anything. I just froze.
See, my son is trained in special forces stuff, and they are trained day in, day out. Every day they train, they shoot, they
I was trained in special ed.
I think I might have been there a couple of times. I hated school and school hated me. It was a mutual hate relationship. I graduated 6 months early, and I didn't even go to the graduation ceremony. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart enough. It was freaking boring.
Oh,
and
amen.
I don't like being bored. And they need to redo that deal that my son went to. He went to a school in Amarillo called Carver, and it was for gifted, talented, and ethnic. Okay, so they mixed on purpose, mixed everybody's races, which it should be. I mean, who cares about skin color these days? And as a matter of fact, bro, because you're a football player, they had a team at Carver Elementary that wasn't even scored on for 2 years.
What?
Wasn't even scored on, and CJ was the quarterback of that team. But
that's why they had the ethnic part on there, so they could get the best.
Dude, well, so he had wideouts, wide receivers that were just amazing. But the other reason was one of the black coaches that was on the team. I was like a third assistant or whatever. Played in the NFL. One of them was a quarterback for Texas A&M. So they ran it like a military camp.
Yeah.
And one day, and I know we're getting off topic. We got to get back on topic. But one day a lady said, "You are being way too mean to your kids." And I thought about that for a second. And I said, "Ma'am, this ain't ballet.
Yeah, that's football.
This is football. This is Texas football, where we take it very seriously." And she just shut up, turned around, and walked away. But so
you said your son was in special forces or something.
Well, no, and now he'd correct me quickly, but he was in the Navy. He did 8.5 years. In the Navy, he was on a riverboat, and he was a 50 cal runner. Then he went in the fire department. Everything he's done has been designed about life-saving techniques and stuff. And now he works, not going to say where, but he's on a specialized team right now. And they train every day. And I would love, okay, here's the best way to put this, Stacy. We went on an elk hunt in Colorado 3 years ago, bow hunt, right? I hear this guy up on the mountain, because I can't walk all that great. So I'm down in the valley. I'm hunting up. And I called a bull real close, but I called too soon when he was right by me, or I could have shot him. But anyway, that same night, all of a sudden, dude, I hear this guy yelling in a high voice. And he wouldn't shut up. He was up the mountain. It was at dusk. And I said, I yelled back because there was black powder bear season and bow elk season. We were doing the bow elk. I yelled back and said, "Hey, I'm hunting elk down here. Don't shoot me." And all of a sudden I hear a voice, "Dad, there's a giant bear up here." And he just turned and faced me, and he finally ran away. I thought I was going to have to shoot him and kill him. But here's what I want you to understand. CJ's voice changed. I didn't know it was him yelling, "Hey, bear."
Right.
He was so excited, his tonation changed. When that bear turned and faced him, it changed even more. Okay. And so that's what fear will do to you, man. You would have to be highly trained every day to be able to react without thinking and draw your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your first thought, not even your third thought. When that whatever happened said, "Get out of here," and then I heard the hoot owl calls, dude. I looked at the dogs and I said, "Time to go," and we loaded up and took out. I personally, you would have to be really in control of your faculties to do what everybody says they think they can do.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how I see it.
People haven't been in the situation.
Correct.
Correct. And until you're there, you don't know. You don't know. And even though I've been there, I still hope to be calm the next time it happens.
Right.
If it happens. But I'll tell you right now,
right,
don't bet on it.
Yeah, you better get out of the way because I'm gonna outrun you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, that people just don't understand that. And if you'd like, we can go into that third point because we've been tickling the spiritual stuff.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. We've been on here 2 hours now. Are you still good to go?
I'm good to go, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
If you are,
hey,
I am.
I am too. I have to take a quick bathroom break, so I'm gonna throw this flyer up real quick and give us like 2-minute break.
Yep.
And then we'll be right back.
All right, dude. Sounds great.
All right, buddy.
Jake, you over sleeping?
All right. Let's get back to it, people. Sorry, my bladder isn't the size that it used to be.
Well, and you're younger than I am, dude. It took me 2.5 minutes. Things change as you get older, dude, for certain.
I probably could have shook it a few more times, but I was in a rush.
Oh, that's funny. I like it. Go ahead.
Okay, so we haven't even gotten into any of these photos, but
right.
What do you want to talk about right now? We're about to get into something else.
Well, it's just the spiritual side of life. I don't care whether you. So right now, I've got a daughter who thinks she's agnostic. She don't want to believe in anything. Right? Mm-hmm. She's young. She's watched way too much TikTok. She's not an adult. And so she was terrorized in the house that we lived at Combe. I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of stuff and I was gone a lot, dude. I was in the insurance business, so I didn't know a lot of stuff. But she told my wife one night that this thing would come and stand at the foot of her bed and lean way over the bed and look at her. And she could kind of make it out and not. Now, this was when she was a little girl. This is like she was 8 or 9. Right. And you know, we tried to write it off or whatever. Down in the woods, dude, the spiritual nature down there, and you can, if you want to show 1 or 2 of those videos, I can explain, or not videos, but pictures, I can explain something.
Yeah. Which ones do you want to go into? I got some from a game cam. Yeah, looks like you're on the boat one time.
Correct.
Then another one in a field.
So the game cam where it's showing a glowing object.
Okay, hold on.
That guy right there. Yep. Okay. Here's what y'all don't know about that day, and I can prove this. By the way, I built that ugly homemade deer feeder. So y'all see that thing glowing in the field? That thing was glowing in a field, and that was the only picture that came in that way, Stacy. It was during a snowstorm. There was no sun at all. It was dark, heavy snow, and it was 2:00 in the afternoon. And that thing is sitting there glowing, levitated beside my deer feeder. I had the feeling while I was down there that there was native spirits in there. Okay. And one of my really good friends from that area, Angela Williams, she's like, dude, I want to come over here and just sleep down there, go out there and just see what happens. I'm like, you sure? But she's very, very spiritually aware. And she said that they decided to show themselves to me. So if you'll click on that picture, by the way, snowstorm, heavy snow. The picture before this picture was nothing but snow. The picture, Stacy, after that picture was nothing but snow. How do you explain that?
Hold on. What? So this picture,
yeah,
this one in general, there's no snow. I don't see any snow.
There's no snow.
I can kind of see it on the trees up here in the top right.
Correct. But you don't see. The picture before this was a heavy snowstorm where you just saw snow falling hard. That picture and then another picture of a heavy snowstorm.
That's not it. I thought I had another one.
No. But the one you just went to, though, if you'll click on it, actually click on the one, dude, where you see my palm as I'm going in to get the camera.
Okay, because what I didn't know about this, I didn't know if like Alf. You remember Alf?
Right. Yeah.
It looks like Alf, bro.
It does, right. So I was going to delete this picture because I'm like, bro, it's just my palm. One, the crap, I don't want to look at that. But one of my buddies.
Oh, wow. I see it now.
He saw it and he said, blow that up, Steve. And bro, in every beam of light in the original picture was a native face. In every beam of light, there was like 6 or 7 beams of light. Once you
there to the left of the feeder.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we talked about those 2 burials. What we hadn't talked about yet is where it gets kind of spooky. Really, we didn't know it at the time, or I wouldn't have bought the property. But the lady that owned the property before us, was kind of known to be a witch. I didn't know that. They had Halloween parties every year, which is cool. I love Halloween. I ain't got no problem with it. But they had haunted trails where they would walk through the woods, and her father was a brilliant guy. He was an inventor, and he made it look like a Volkswagen Bug was coming down out of the woods at night, coming at you with a horn blowing. It was brilliant. But a guy had a heart attack and died right there too, so they shut it down. Okay, so there was, let's just say in my mind, the way I see it, as a Christian, there were things invited to be there by the people that owned it before me. Here's the problem with that. Those things can be whatever they want to be. they don't listen to you. Just because you open the door and let something through doesn't mean it's going to play nice, right? So anytime I was in the woods, I saw stuff like that, what you're seeing there. Or I saw nothing at all. There. Now look at that one. You see the whirly bird up on top?
Yeah, this is the same photo, right? Just kind of cropped.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay.
cropped. Can you enlarge it at all?
I can't enlarge it anymore on here.
Okay. In that photo, there's a warrior's face. And if you look real close, you can see it. It almost reminds you of a lion in a way, but it's a warrior's face. And it's up where the shadow stops on that tree. You can see a face in it if you blow it up big enough.
Yeah, I got you.
But bro, so that land had been charged in my mind, the way I rationalize it, that land was charged by the people that had to bury their loved ones without marking them. And then up top, that land was charged by something totally different, something that allowed whatever wanted to come. Okay, let's just put it that way. My wife one night called me terrified because something like, imagine a barefoot man running on concrete, because we had concrete floors that I'd rebuilt the house. We had a fire that burned down the old house. And that lady, the same lady, said, I always knew this house would be burned down someday. And I'm like, and you didn't bother to tell me that, you know?
Yeah,
And,
right.
but anyway, we tried to rebuild. It was during COVID. I went in the hospital with COVID. I was in there 14 days. They tried to respirate me, and I told them, I ain't going to let you do it. And so every night I would get up and walk around my hospital room. But one night Amanda called me terrified. Imagine a heavy man, let's say a 250-pound man, running barefoot on concrete. And here's the other little oddity, Stacy. This stuff never happened when I was home. It only happened when I was gone. But something ran up to my wife's bed, heavy-footed concrete floor, and circled her bed twice and then ran away. And she called me screaming and crying. And that's when I finally made the decision to move.
Wow.
And it broke my heart because that was my paradise, dude. It really was.
Yeah.
That's why we moved to Macomb, to Fort Cobb, was because of that. And I will own another piece of land someday because I am more at peace there than I am anywhere, right? Because I get to work with nature, grow a garden, do whatever I want to do, and I think that's the way God meant it to be, dude.
It's kind of the same way with my place, man. Like. And now granted, there's not a ton of woods. We only have about maybe 4 acres. Most of it is wooded.
Right.
But I'm at peace more here. And this is my childhood home. Like I got it from my parents. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at more peace here than I am anywhere else. Like leaving here is anxiety for me.
Right. Yep. I know the feeling.
So I'll do everything I can to not lose this place.
Right. Well, it's funny because you love to travel, but it's still anxiety when you leave. So I love to travel. I've been all over the U.S. and I've absolutely been blessed in that and loved every second of it. But
I love it when I'm doing it. When I'm doing it, but leaving is actually, I have a problem. Like it's a damn thing, dude. Like I'm trying to look for excuses to not leave.
Right. Well, with me, it's a little different with me. I plan a trip and I love to do that because I'm thinking about where I'm going and all that. But dude, while I'm gone, I don't ever sleep. At a motel room, I can't sleep for nothing. I just can't do it. And so I come back just wore out, tired because I never sleep while we're gone. But I asked my son one day while he was hunting down there, I said, CJ, tell me what you think of those woods. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, do you enjoy hunting down there? And he said, oh, yeah. And I said, how do you feel when you're down there? And he doesn't talk feelings often, right? He's a Navy guy and they just don't do that. But he said, Dad, I've never been more at peace than when I'm down there and I can't explain it. So there is a spiritual side of our world. If we'll just tap into it, our world would totally change. It would, and for the better, because people would know better than to invite. Do you know we're the first generation that tried to say there wasn't a God in all of human
brother,
history?
listen, and that's the whole issue. It allows, and I'm not going to get preachy on people,
Sure.
no, it's a moral fabric, right?
Yep.
And when you don't believe in that, you don't believe in any consequence.
Correct. I personally
You know what I'm
think
saying?
that. I personally think that's why people struggle with it so much. Is here's the thing: I ain't no perfect Christian, dude. I smoke a tobacco pipe every night. I love having 2 or 3 good cold beers, especially if I'm eating Mexican food. And I let words fly that I shouldn't let fly. I am at best just learning, but my mouth overruns my butt a lot of times with my thoughts. My mouth will overrun my butt, but there's a spiritual side to this world. Even our government came out and said, yeah, there's aliens and they can go through a time-space continuum that we can't go through. And so, okay, well, what is that other world? We don't know, right? We have no idea what all is around us. We think we do, but God also said, I will use how do you put it? I will use the dumb to confound the wise in the end days. I will use the illiterate. He didn't say the word dumb. He said illiterate or simple. I will use the simple minds to confound the wise and prove them wrong in the last days.
Yeah.
That's in the word, dude. It's not my words. And so I think that there's people like me and you that are sensitive to those things. And I think another guy could walk through the woods and never see a thing. But you if you're not open to the idea that there's something more out there, you may see it and it may change your mind. That could happen. For me, it was a slow burn with a deep dive down the rabbit hole, but I'm glad I went down the rabbit hole, right? It happened to me. I didn't run away from it. I faced it and I learned about it. So, I mean, that's all we can do.
Yep. And you mentioned earlier about being marked.
Yeah.
I was in, and I didn't know how you were going to describe it, and I didn't interrupt you after you said it, but I wanted to. I was in where was that? No. There was this damn asylum that we were at, Pennhurst Asylum. I think that's where it was. It was in Pennsylvania, and we were ghost hunting, and it felt like water got poured down my back. And this was all on live stream. And when I lifted my shirt up and my buddy filmed my back, I had 3 scratches going down.
Yep. It's normally 3. There's something about 3.
I think it's mocking the Trinity.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And here's the thing. So you guys went ghost hunting. That opened up the door to that world to say, hey, we're going to show up.
Oh, brother, right? I sat in on seances and because people would tell me, hey, I can conjure a demon. And I'm like, all right, I want to see it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the damn wrong thing to do, bro.
I had that thought when I was a little kid because if you believe in good, there's bad. There's got to be. There's a counter to everything. And when I was a little kid, there was a faith healer that came to my grandpa's church, and I got real cocky because he was praying over a lady with a bad limp. And I said, all right, God, show me what you can do. And I opened my eyes and I watched that leg grow, bro. And the lady walked out of there without a limp. And it blew my mind. I was probably 7, 8 years old. But after seeing that happen, well, I couldn't deny what I just saw, right? Just like that water being poured down your back, others describe that same thing as hot coals going down their back or across their chest or whatever. And it's all from that side of things, dude. So those
Like, I was shocked. I was shocked to see scratches.
Oh yeah.
Because it did not hurt. I swear it felt like somebody poured water on my back.
I had a lady, if you don't mind me telling this.
You're good, bud.
Go ahead.
You're good. You go ahead.
Okay,
Say what you gotta say.
Well, I had a lady, when I was on the Frito-Lay route after my divorce, it was, I wasn't supposed to say the chip route, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I was on my chip route, and most people that knew me knew that I was a Christian back then, dude. You couldn't get me out of the Bible. I was trying to learn everything I could, trying to save my family, which was never meant to be saved. And, but this lady came up to me one day and she said, Steve, I got to talk to you about something. I said, all right. She said, I know you're a believer. I said, yeah. She said, and it's really funny because me and a buddy had been talking about people that can cast out demons. Bro, I just watched a video of a girl being baptized, and a demon manifested in that girl as she was being baptized, and it screamed and it yelled, and it didn't look like her at all. And then she went underwater. It sounded horrible. Mm-hmm. But so anyway, this lady comes up to me and she said, I need to ask you something. I said, all right. She said, we moved into a new place and there is something that is terrorizing my son to the point where it's scratching him. This is just a little boy, dude. This is like a little 4-year-old boy. And I said, okay, that's not good. And she said, no, it gets worse. She said, we were watching a movie one night and we heard it walking down the hallway. And all of a sudden the mirror in the living room shattered for no reason. And I'm like, and she said, and it could have hurt him. One of the pieces almost got him. And I said, girl, you got something after your child and you need to do something about it. You can't just think about it. You need to call somebody. And she started crying. She said, I knew you were going to say that. And I said, I'm not that guy. I've never done that. I wouldn't know where to start, but I know somebody who is that guy. She came out, Stacy. As I was leaving the store, she flagged me down. I said, yeah. I gave her the guy's number and all that. And she said, you got to see this. And she showed me a ring on her finger that was a cross. Bro, the cross broke right after we talked. Something, and she said, Steve, I've had this she was young, a young girl. She was probably maybe 25, 30. She said, but I've had this has been in my family forever. And it freaking broke, right? And so there's things that we don't understand by talking about them. You know, the natives won't talk about a lot of this. That's why I've begged this friend of mine to come on to a show like yours and talk about it, but he will not do it because they believe that the more you talk about it, the more it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
and
there's
right.
Yep. You can manifest things, and you can manifest things in a bad way.
Correct. Yeah. In a real bad way. Yeah.
You gotta be careful. So, hey, let me ask you about these. You got 2 more pictures here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this one was odd. You circled something on it.
Oh, yeah. Just
so
what do you see there?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know, but it looks like there's some kind of shape here.
If you can look close, even later, and blow that up. There's a woman's face in that picture as clear as Dallas, dude. And it's a native face. And my wife took that picture. But when she sent me that picture today, it looked like a sad native's face. And you can see it clear as day at the very bottom of the picture in that circle. And here's the thing. That's a copy of a copy of a copy, but you can still see that face in it.
Yeah.
When we were in Macomb, when she would take pictures like out on that one lake picture, there was always orbs in the picture. Okay. People talk about orbs and Bigfoot. like we just said, we don't know what this world is. We don't know how they move through this world. We think we do, but we don't. And those orbs were very present, and it was a sunny day. And like, pull up that boat. Well, let's stick with this one for a second, because I would love for somebody to take a screenshot of that and see if they see what I see.
Bro, everybody in the chat right now is talking about it.
Is it not crazy?
Yeah.
Bro.
I see it now. I see a face now. Now that you say there's a face there.
It's to me, it's a sad native face. Like a woman almost in mourning, if you will.
Right.
You would literally look at our trees out the window and see faces in them sometimes, dude, when we lived there. And not scary faces, not anything that would make you be afraid. But there's another side to this world, bro, that we just can't see with our eyes. You know, they say we only have, what is our eye range? It's like 3% of what's really here.
Yeah. We perceive, they said we perceive, I think it was 2%, but maybe it's 3%
okay.
of our actual reality. That means there's like 97, 98% of other shit going on that we're just not aware of. But I think we can get in tune with that stuff. You know, I think you could train yourself, and then some people I think are just more apt to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this last one here, it looks like we got two suns.
Yeah, it's just an orb.
Just an orb. Where was you at here?
We were at a lake not far from that house in Macomb. On one of my pontoon boats. But every picture Amanda took for a while, there was orbs in it. Every single one of them. There was one she took of it, and I didn't even send you this one. She was on a neighbor's property about a half a mile from ours on Macomb. Is an old gentleman that we would feed. And he was just a good guy. We loved helping him. But she took a picture at sunset, and it was a perfect cross. Perfect. In the sun. I'll have to find that one and send it to you. But that land over there. So you think about the Trail of Tears, Stacy. That marked that land. In my mind, you can mark land just like the what is it, Skinwalker Ranch. They say that land is cursed, and it was cursed by one group of natives because of another group of natives, what they done to them. And by God, it is. There's things there that you just can't explain. I think that land that we owned in Macomb was the same way. And I hate that we left there, because that, like I say, it was my paradise. And when our house burned, bro, you would have thought that we had a McDonald's drive-through from all the cars that came off of the highway down the 1.5-mile dirt road. And then you couldn't even see my house from the dirt road. It was 5 acres in the woods. And it was people dropping off food and clothing. And because our house went up in like 7 minutes, the whole thing was burnt in 7 minutes, gone. And we lost. My boss at the time, she said, describe it to me, Steve. I said, okay, picture a tornado just come through and took your house with it. That's what just happened. And so she said, okay, what do y'all need? I said, everything. Sleepwear, cookware. And so here's how good those people are over there. I love those people over there. My buddy Andy had a motorhome there within 30 minutes. And he said, keep it as long as you need it. People brought food. People brought clothes. It's a real community there, right? There is a spirit of community there. And I hope that doesn't go away, even though my hometown where I'm from, it was that way when I was a kid. I can't say that about it now.
Yeah. The place I live is turning into, it's not what it was anymore, you know?
But, right.
You know, with your house burning down, I know you lost it and you loved it and all that.
Right.
But I tell you, the Lord's going to put you where you're supposed to be.
Oh, I agree. And I think that's what this is even, dude.
Right.
Because I didn't say it in the intro, and I should have. I'm honored to be on here, and I'm humbled by it, because it's validating, right? To be able to tell your story to someone who's not a believer, but a knower, because I'm a knower. I can't doubt what I know, right? And so there's a big difference between a believer and a knower. That little boy that we talked about earlier, Gatlin, that little guy, he will be president someday. He's already told me that, and he will be. He's that smart. He's like 5th grade level right now, but we talk about astrophysics. We talk about we talk a lot about Bigfoot, a lot. And I can't wait to see what this generation that's coming up behind us is going to do with our world. I hope they still have one to do something with. I truly do.
Yeah, because I think all that's about. My fear is that in 10 years, especially all these kids that are about to go to college or these kids that are in college now, the way AI is progressing.
Oh, dude!
Like let's think just 5 years ago, before COVID. Before COVID, where was AI at? Non-existent.
There was none. Yeah, there was none.
And then you think about, well, what's that going to be like in 10 years? I believe most jobs are going to be gone.
Yep. A robot in every house.
Yep. It's going to be a universal basic income. So these people that are going to college now and stuff, I really wouldn't do it. Just looking at the future, I'd be like, I don't know, unless I got into computers or something. I think every job's going to be affected.
Have you ever followed Elon Musk much?
Yeah.
Sound fascinated by the guy. I mean, he's too smart.
I think something's up with that, by the way. Like,
yeah, I do too. A trillionaire. He's the first trillionaire ever.
Yeah.
But he was talking with Rogan, and he said something that blew my mind. He said, if you really knew what my day-to-day was like, nobody would want to be me.
Right.
And he's on the, I'll just put it this way, on the human side of him, his mind never shuts off from the time he wakes up till the time he goes to sleep. His mind is constantly working, and he sleeps like several years ago he would sleep on the factory warehouse floor with a couch so that he didn't have to leave what he was working on. So he's had a price to pay, but if you think of where he's from, and you think of the other things that have been said about a guy by the name of Elon in a book that was written in 1898, bro, that's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a deep rabbit hole. But I think in 10 years, you're going to have ultra rich, and you're going to have people, you're going to have a lot of dead people. I think they are going to make it to where it's okay. I mean, bro, Canada's already got it. If you're old and you want to die, go to the government. They'll key you.
Oh, yeah.
If you're depressed and you want to die, go to the government.
I was afraid to go to the hospital up there if something happened to me. I didn't want to go there to be like, hey, you want to just do this?
Yeah. Bro, that's a mortal sin. That, I mean, all sin is bad, but killing people, you're only doing that for one reason. It's the whole blood thing. It's the whole sacrificing of babies that we're learning about, and all that bullshit that is ruining our world. And the ultra elite are involved in that too. Right. And the timing of everything to me is what's forefront in my mind. What they've just released that they say they know. Now there's 4 types of alien creatures that they talk about. Mm-hmm. So pretty soon somebody's going to have a video of one of them.
Yep.
And we are to take that as truth because it came from the government. And it's that same government that lied for the last 50 years about the existence at all.
That's why I don't believe anything they say.
Bro, they made people look like complete fools that talk like we're talking now. Right? They've killed people for it, but they denigrate you. It's funny in our government. If they don't like you, you can tell pretty quick because they're going to badmouth you to no end. That means you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go a little deeper on that. The Bible that was wrote before King James, the prayer that Jesus said was just a little bit different than what it is in the King James. It did not say something to the effect of deliver me from evil in high places. It said deliver me from the evil of government. That's what it said.
Right.
I think they've been lying to us on purpose for as long as they've been hiding giant bones, at least 1800s, when the Smithsonian got involved. So,
I don't think Rome ever actually fell.
I agree completely.
I think it just got panned. Some people that had the money kind of just went and started something else elsewhere and continued to invest their money in other places. And it's just, that's probably what your elites are, but it's just pushed it through secret organizations.
Right.
Listen, it's the people that decide who our president is. Because if you sit here and think, let's say this whole vote thing was real, and it came down to Stacey Brown's vote. You think the most powerful country of all time is going to let the decision of who runs it be made by me?
Right. Yep.
No. Yep. They're dumb if they do.
They can't allow that. Yeah. Yeah. I think the whole thing's ran by 4 or 5 families at the top, at the very top. And I think every one of those families are Satanists. I've heard of different things about secret societies and but the ultra elite like that. Oh, what's that big mouth guy's name from Texas that
which one?
Well, the guy that discovered Bohemian Row. That guy.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Love him. I love him. I mean,
I do too, brother.
Truth. He tells the truth and he don't give a damn what you think about it.
Nope.
But he proved there that day in that video that the ultra elite of Hollywood worships something that I ain't ever seen.
Yeah.
And he said the men that were there were deriving power from it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a spooky thing because part of that was where they carried out a casket that was small enough for a baby. You never saw anything in the casket, but somebody raised a knife and stuck it in it.
Yep.
And bro, do we really want to let people like that run our lives?
Right.
But that's my thought. And I think that in the Bible, it doesn't talk about America for a reason. I don't think there will be one in the last of the last days. I think it'll be anarchy. But I do think they are trying to nursing homes, for example. My middle son, Riley, works in a nursing home. Good kid. And his girlfriend works in a nursing home too. And this is a personal opinion, but very rarely do they have people that come visit their old folks. Right. They put them in there to die and get rid of them, and then they're going to take their money. Mm-hmm. Greed is the number one problem in America, in the world, right? These things that we think we have to be. I always told myself I'd be a millionaire by the time I was 40. Well, that didn't happen. But I had an aunt who was dirt poor that looked at me when I said that out loud, and she said, "Stevie," she's the only one allowed to call me that, and my mama. She said, "Stevie, my first $1 million I'll give to you." And I got all excited. I'm like, "I'm gonna give $1 million." But later on, I realized that, bro, it ain't about money. It's about family and love and appreciation. It's not about money. It's about nature and what God's made for us, dude. That's what it's about, right? The rest of it is just filler. How many things you buy on Temu today that last more than a week?
Oh shit, bro! I
it's all
got
filler.
a damn truck. I know the guy now. I know the guy that be pulling up here. My wife be ordering shit. I'm like, what did you get today? It's like, what are you doing? We don't
Bro,
need. And then she's like, we got to have a yard sale to get rid of some of this stuff. I'm like, why? You're just gonna fill it with more shit.
Yeah. Yeah, if you build a shop, you have to lock it away from a wife like that because they will fill it completely full and say build another one.
Yeah.
Right. So, but
I got 3.
But I mean, I got an axe from Temu just the other day, and it showed it to be a beautiful. I love axes. I don't know why. I've been a woods guy all my life, but it showed it to be a beautiful axe, handmade. And I got it in, and it is a beautiful axe, and it is handmade, but it's only a foot tall, and it's about the head's about that big. And I'm like, and I just pay, and it wasn't expensive, but I mean, to me, that's false advertising. That's what our government's always done.
Yeah,
they tell you one thing and they do another. So, when I was in the insurance business, this will tell the story. When I was in the insurance business, I had the pleasure of interviewing a Secret Service agent who had worked for Obama. He had worked, his first president was the peanut farmer. What's his name?
oh shit. Damn it.
You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
The peanut farmer was the first, Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter. And then he worked all the way through Obama and retired. And I said, bro, I got to ask. And he started laughing. He said, okay, what's your question, Steve? I knew you'd have them. I said, who was your favorite out of everybody? Because there was a Bush in there too. He said, Jimmy Carter. And I went, why in the world would you pick the peanut farmer of all people? That guy, I mean, I don't know of anything good that he did for the country. He said it wasn't about that. It's how he treated me. He treated me with respect. And I'm like, okay, I really appreciate that. I said, question 2. He said, yeah, go ahead. I said, everything we hear about the Democrats and the Republicans and all that crap. And he started laughing. I said, just go ahead and answer it or say the rest of the question, whatever you want to do. He said, dude, that's all for show. Every bit of that's for show. He said, those people behind the closed doors are all buddies. And so what I've learned in all my life with all of this that we've talked about, Stacey, is we've been lied to a hell of a lot. Is there a chance that there's something called a dog man? Well, what if they grabbed a Bigfoot, took DNA and made one? Why couldn't they? They clone things.
Yep.
You know, why couldn't they? I mean, there's in the Bible, it says man can do anything he puts his mind to doing. And that means anything, whether it be good or bad. And so why couldn't a secret government agency make something like that to go kill people that lived in certain areas? I mean, dude, I know for a fact you remember back in the day, it had been back in the 70s, I think, when it was proven that they gave LSD to a bunch of soldiers just to see what would happen.
Oh yeah.
And some of them killed people and then came out of their stupor and didn't even remember doing it.
Yep. Luna, representative from Florida.
I love that chick, man. Yeah,
she was just on there yesterday or the day before talking about MK Ultra and how they had people that would assassinate other people for them.
Right. Yep. I mean, yeah, dude, it's been around for a long time. Right. Here's another one that'll twist a lot of people's minds because I am a Christian, but I will tell you this. I've had 23 low back surgeries. I've got a computer back there that shocks my back all the time. I've got rods and screws from my butt to my neck. Okay. After a while, there's nothing more the doctors can do to butcher you. Now, some of them, there's a doctor in Oklahoma City, De La Garza, that's fantastic. He's a sports medicine guy. And he has gotten me out of more pain than most of them. Okay.
All right.
But the things that our forefathers knew about, if you go chew on this tree bark, it'll cure a headache. The natives know a whole bunch of that stuff, right? Okay. God put everything on this earth that we need. Okay. Here's a little quick example of it. God allowed a marijuana plant to grow. God did
Hell
not,
yeah.
but God did not make Kentucky whiskey. You know who did? A Baptist preacher.
Okay. Get people in the mood.
And bro, they, from the beginning they called it spirits. I wonder why.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? Because if you drink enough or smoke enough or whatever, it changes who you are, dude. Right? But back to the marijuana, I know of a little girl whose life was saved because a guy bred marijuana especially for her. She had seizures so bad they thought she'd die by the time she was 4.
Yeah.
And he bred a specific plant, and she no longer has seizures. So, you know, here's the thing, dude. I don't judge people, but don't judge me either. You don't know the guy that's walking around in pain all the time, even though he's got a smile on his face. And it goes that should go for everybody. We should give people room to let us know who they truly are, and they'll let you know, right?
Yep.
But just because the government's always told us something's bad doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
I'm
You know,
just
and I'll
saying.
tell you, to your point there, I got 3 friends that have the worst stories, life experiences that you'd ever want to hear. Some of the things will make you tear up if you hear their stories, but they're the happiest people I've ever met.
Oh yeah,
And I ask them, and I lean on them when I have hard times. You know, like when I lost my father, I just leaned on my buddy, and I'm like, how do you still stay so positive?
Right.
It's easy to start hating everything.
Oh, of course.
I don't judge people for being like that because I've been there.
Yep.
But
it's all a choice, man. And the way I lost my daddy to COVID, literally, my dad said, "Son, these COVID shots killed me," and they did. My dad never smoked a day in his life. He only drank when he was in Vietnam because you couldn't drink the water. He was awarded the Agent Orange benefit that the guys in Vietnam got, but they gave him all kinds of shit about getting it. The little girl that was asking him, she said, "Well, why didn't you report?" Forgive the language there, spoke. Why didn't you report that you had chest problems when you were in the military? He said, "Because I was freaking 19 years old." You don't think about that. You're just trying to stay alive. Yeah. And so they fought him, and just by, you can either say a stroke of luck or you can say by God's design, which is my choice. I met a man who was the head of all of that, and I was talking to him about insurance, and I just happened to mention my dad's story. He got my dad's paperwork, and within 3 weeks, Dad was fully covered. Yeah. But if Dad wouldn't have let me do that, he wouldn't have never received that benefit. But my dad was one of the happiest people you ever wanted to meet. And here was another thing about him that I love so much that I try to emulate. I fail at it, but I try. He's not interested in telling you about him. He wants to know about you.
Yeah.
And so I personally think that Dad would be upset with me if I didn't carry on his traditions of being a good person and trying to help people best you can. He's one of the best mechanics I ever knew. Man, so life is a choice. You've been blessed or you've been cursed. I've been cursed a few times, I guarantee it, but I prefer the blessings. You know, I've been blessed enough to work with men like Sam Cooper that took me all around America selling gold mining equipment to miners. And bro, I learned more about geology and how our Earth was formed through him than I ever would have learned in college. Right? I've been blessed by the people like you that I get to meet, and that's how I choose to see it. You know, do I have people that don't like me? I guarantee you, I do. I know I do.
Oh yeah.
But I choose to, as much as possible. I ain't perfect at it. But I've gotten pretty good at keeping that crap out of my mind and focusing on the good.
Mm-hmm.
And bro.
Yep.
And so, you know, the fact that he was just at the White House truly freaking creeps me out.
It should.
Right. It
you know what's going on, bro.
Yeah, I know, but it creeps me out because, you know, he's talking the next smartphone's going to be in your head, not on your hand.
Of course it is.
Yeah, not on mine.
Not on mine. But, brother, we're going to be, you know how many people would roll over and do it right now? You know how many people out there that if you said, hey, you ain't got to work no more. Here's your place you're going to stay.
Right.
Here's your monthly allowance. You know how many people be okay with that?
Yeah, but what about when that government guy says, oh, wait a minute, you want to go here and buy that? No, that's not allowed.
Oh, they'd be okay with it because they were okay with turning their neighbor in for having a party during COVID.
That is true. That is true.
And the only thing that I learned about that, through that whole deal, was how many of my fellow people that lived in my community would turn me into the British if this was the revolution.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing I could think about. I was like, you're all rats. You're all rats.
You need to read a book that a guy that I met wrote. It's called The Black Robed Regiment. Do you know the British war that was fought for our independence was not because of senators or governors or anything like that? It was all preachers. The preachers were saying, we don't have freedom. They are taxing us without representing us. And one preacher had he had a bounty on his head, dude. Back in the day, the dude would walk up and put his gun on the pulpit, start preaching, and then put it back in his pants and leave. Yeah. They put a bounty on his head. So, and our founding fathers knew how dangerous this big government can be. They knew it. They had incredible foresight. They knew it. But here's my question for America. Ladies, forgive me for saying it this way, but do we have the balls to stand up and say we ain't doing that?
No, I don't think we do. Some of us do. Some of us do. But here's the deal. If you want to wait something out, like Les mentioned this, and I shouldn't. Okay, a little preview of I just finished editing Les Stroud and Robert from Cabin in the Woods interview.
Right.
And Les makes an analogy in there, and he goes, it was like they treated the Native Americans.
Yep.
You just wait till they dwindle down and dwindle down and dwindle down, and it's, now we got a reservation for you.
Yep.
You wait till the numbers get low enough to where even if they fight back, you know they won't because they know they can't win.
Yeah, they can't
and so
win.
now we're just going to move them over here.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And I feel that's what they will do with people like me. They're just going to wait. Like my kids are like me. They'll never go along with this stuff.
Right.
But there's less of those people now than there is in my generation.
Bro, I'd say 70% of America to roll over. I really think that. I hate to say that, but I think it.
But here's the deal. Here's the one silver lining. I believe only 10% of the people that lived in this country fought during the revolution or like stood up. The rest of them didn't. Most of the people didn't. It was a thing that like back then, because as you talk about the preachers, they were kind of the law in the area. You know what I mean? They had everybody in the community there. They had everybody that knew what going on.
Right.
You know, there wasn't these county police departments and things like that.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't micromanaged on the level that it is now.
Right.
And even those people then they were like, "Why would you bring war upon us?
Right.
Why would you
Most of them
cause
didn't
all
want
this?" Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't fight because they just would rather let's
Live
just
with it.
yes, rather
Let's
it
live
can't
with it.
be that bad, and I'm not that person.
No. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to be dead, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be there with you.
You know,
And however I go out, but I've been blessed through my life, dude, and I'm not going to let them take it. I'm
No.
just not. I'm not going to let them. So you're right, though. They will dwindle us down.
they'll
It'll
wait
take
till we're
time.
gone.
Yeah.
They'll wait till we're gone, and you figure if it's 70% of America right now would roll over, they'll probably wait till it gets to 80 to 90
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because
yeah.
it'll get there.
Hey, I'll
know?
tell you, I'm not going to name names, but I know a guy that was an inventor. He invented something that made the diesel engine run a heck of a lot better and on a lot less fuel. He tried to sell it to Caterpillar. They said, "No, we're not interested." And he was an engineer for them. He says, "Okay, I quit." They said, "What do you mean you quit? Just because we're not going to buy your invention?" He said, "That's right. I'll go sell it to somebody that will buy it." He is now incredibly wealthy, and he owns his own island where he makes the rules and the laws because he's far enough away from the mainland. And it's out in Florida. It's out in that coastal area. It's far enough away from the mainland where by law he can make his own law.
That is nuts, dude.
Bro, I mean, one buddy of ours said he got to go visit down there, and it's just it's the way it ought to be. But at the same time, this guy has the money and the means, and he's freaking armed to the teeth, and they better not mess with him. There'll be a lot more. There'll be a lot more fight there than they think.
Oh yeah, and that's why our country's never had any foreign
Correct.
boots on the ground.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
like that would unite everybody, but the enemy from within,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
so much. Well, Steve,
So,
brother,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
have enjoyed this conversation, but we pushing 3 hours.
oh, dude.
So, yeah, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you letting me on. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, brother, I'm gonna have you back on because this was just, even we're sitting here talking just bullshit most of the time,
Right,
but it's great,
right.
great conversation.
Dude, I've learned a lot from watching your shows. I hadn't got to watch the one you did last week with that gentleman, but I'll be actually, I'm going to watch it when we're through. So I appreciate you a ton. The one that was popping up was about Adam. Am I right about that? Scared or lived through terror? It may not have been Adam. It may be the wrong name. But that's the one that just popped up on my feed. I hadn't seen it, so I'll guarantee you I'll watch it. But can I leave people with this? Trust in God and know that there is a clear and present danger, and we at least need to be aware of it.
We do, brother. And man, like I said, I appreciate it. This has been great, and I'm gonna have to have you back on.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
This is fun,
You get out to Oklahoma, and we'll put on an expedition down south. I'll make that drive. All right, I want to go to Kentucky. I'm excited about what you're doing up there. That's going to be fantastic.
Well, brother, come on out. It's going to be smack dab in the best weather, right. And the
October, right?
1st of October, the 4th through the 4th, 1st through the 4th, and camping's only $30 a night. But
right, that's nothing. Yeah.
To be where we're at,
yeah.
Like when you see it, you'd be like, wow. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I've been in woods like that, and it's if you could go out and sit in the middle of the woods out in a little opening and just sit there and look at everything around you, this world would be a lot better place. Just go out there and calm down and just roll with what you see out there. It's a feeling that's hard to describe, but yeah, man, I want to go. I want to see that. I truly do.
Well, if not, I will hit you up when I'm through Oklahoma because I am going to go to Oklahoma because there's legendary stories out there.
Right, right.
And it's one of the few places in this country I haven't been to. Like there's only 5 states I haven't been to, and Oklahoma's one of them.
Well, dude, you got to come out. We'll do a barbecue and bring your guitar with you, because we're going to have to do some of that. And,
you know, I will.
and we'll have a ball, man. Go catch some catfish and have a ball. So I appreciate you so much, Stacy. I truly do.
Yeah, brother. You have a good night, man.
All right. I'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.
All right.
All right, everybody. That is Steve Arney. Great conversation. I know we strayed away from Bigfoot, but I still hope you enjoyed it, because what are you going to talk about for 3 hours? Right? We did talk about Bigfoot, but we went other places, and I absolutely loved it, man. As we were talking about there at the end, I do want to mention again the expedition, the members only expedition. Y'all please come out. Maybe you'll get to meet Steve. I bet he's got more stories that he could tell around a campfire than what you would think. So, but yeah, free to cave dwellers. Just sign up for the 1 month and send me the email, and we'll get you booked. But we got room for a lot of people. It is primitive camping. There will be no showers. There will be porta potties. And they'll be cooking supplies. We're going to cook while we're out there. So we're going to have live entertainment. We're going to have live podcasts. We're going to be looking for Bigfoot as well. So I hope to see all of you out there. This Friday, dropping Journey to Belief, episode 2. All of you that enjoyed episode 1, it will be there. And we'll get with that. Next Wednesday, I believe, I shouldn't say, because I think we're confirmed, but I'm not. But next Wednesday's show is going to be something that none of you have ever heard about before, or maybe only a few of you have. The guy came to me with some information that I just never looked into, because I never had that kind of stuff laid on my doorstep. But nonetheless, very, very interesting. Sorry we didn't get any calls tonight. It is what it is. Usually the people are done in about an hour and a half. But, me and Steve were able to keep going. So I'm glad it turned out the way it did. But next time, maybe we'll get to some calls. If I'll trade the calls for a good conversation. So I can't guarantee it. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. You guys are allowing me to, really, really travel down this path for proof, for discovery. And I seriously appreciate every single one of y'all. But until next time, y'all stay safe.